Greetings, everyone on YouTube, and welcome back to Age of Empires 4 with me, Kemsit, and Foxplot over here with this content creator interview. So, by all means, feel free to greet us.
Hi everyone, I'm Foxplot coming to you from sunny England today, and I'm here, I think, because I've created a few different mod missions for Age of Empires 4,
Mhm,
including Siege of Vienna, Defense of Multan, Siege
mhm.
of Rhodes, Blockade at Salerno, uh, Battle of Sluis.
Slice,
And I'm
yeah.
probably I knew you were going to correct my pronunciation there. I don't think I ever got it right. Uh,
Typical Dutch thing, sorry.
why did the first bit of the Hundred Years' War have to happen outside of England and France? It all could have been so easy, but here we are.
Yeah,
And the Siege of Caen.
yeah,
I
correct.
think that's everything, not including like offshoots.
Yeah, true. No, that's all perfectly honestly. Apart from the offshoots, like you said, you have also been able to. Well, you are mentioned in the King's Traitor, for example, the Rockroi battle. That's
You
also one you
just
see.
just as somebody who was there who gave a couple tips.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like uh,
Hmm.
the co-op version of Multan as an
Mm-hmm.
offshoot,
Hmm.
as opposed to the single player one, because that's a separate mod, and the fact I had to re-upload Vienna. But that's about it from me.
Yeah. And then you have also the Battle of Trade, where you've been also being mentioned too. But
Yeah,
well,
just mentioned I wasn't involved in the development of that at all.
okay. Okay. No, that's fine. But by all means, still welcome. Thank you very much for accepting this call. I'm very honored to have you here too, and
Yeah,
indeed,
great to be here.
indeed. Um, and then these missions, they're all very well, nice, and also fun to play through. I definitely liked also the Battle of Sledge because again, Dutch history kind of even the
Yeah, I
location.
mean it's Flemish, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I don't care. It's just Dutch for me.
It's
No, I'm joking. And then the Siege of Breda as well. I definitely enjoyed it. The Battle of Caen. I definitely also liked
I
Molten.
didn't make the Siege of Breda. That was
No, okay.
Marco again.
Oh, right. Well,
Sorry.
Siege of no, that's okay.
we, we
The
we all glaze each other so much. So yeah, the mod store needs better tools for people to figure out who did what.
I agree, and we're gonna come to that soon too. But I
Hmm.
will definitely say I've definitely also enjoyed Molten. It was a little bit tricky for me as well, just to figure out like how should I
Yeah,
counter them, how should I fight them. I did a few
I
tries.
was a bit mean for
Yeah,
sure.
nah, I don't mind it. I enjoy challenges, but certain challenges I'm gonna say big no go. um, yeah, and then Siege of
I
Vienna was definitely
thank
good.
thank you for giving it so many tries. By the way, it's I'm honored that you would put so much effort into it that you'd fail twice and still go all the way to the end.
True. Well, I was definitely trying, but certain things I wanna also like try to play save games, but I was literally like so reluctant to try it because apparently saving and loading the game apparently breaks it. So I'm like, oh
Absolutely,
shit.
absolutely. Big problem with mod maps and AoE 4.
Yeah, I know, and that's a pain in the ass because that's an issue we do not face in Age of Empires 2. Neither in
Yeah,
Age of Mythology, but in Age of Empires 3, I cannot mention, but apparently in Age of Empires 4, it's a big, yeah, pain.
must be nice.
Yeah, it was. But other than that, like to put the negativity aside, because that's also always something I just go forward. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna move on and play something else.
Hmm.
And if I can still believe I can retry it again, and it doesn't text me too much, I'm just gonna definitely try to grind through it, especially with the Defense of the Molten one, because I did like it very much. And same with Siege of Vienna. One thing I will definitely say, I didn't find cool Marines there. We're like, what? Where?
Absolutely. So that's as I said, I'm very happy that the mods still work in a
Mm-hmm.
general sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're still you can see they're still playable. But things like that, the culverins, you need to collect 4 culverins, but now it
Mm-hmm.
says 0 out of 0, and they're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I I think I know the reason for that, but that was not my intention for them not to be there.
No, no. Well, other than that, I was literally like filled. I was like, maybe these enemies base and all that. I was also wondering, checking
Mm,
out entirely. I was like, okay, fuck this. Same thing, for example, in Battle of Slows when I didn't have any more navy. Again, I'm not the most best micro and macro player, but I think I've
yeah.
done well. And like when you saved the village, you didn't get control, for example, from the fleet that the AI controls. It would be very much nice to
Mm,
have like some forces and then you just, bam, the last bits of out. Or it was like literally, Kemzit, just get better, dude.
well, it's a no build mission, by which I
Uh,
mean you can't build a base, so you have a set amount of forces. They're always going to be a bit precarious and skill
mm-hmm,
based, but
mm-hmm.
your feedback about getting control of more like Flemish forces is definitely good feedback that I would take into account if I was still modding.
Damn it, no! Okay, well, whatever. That's okay.
Oh, it
That's your
might be a good
choice.
time to mention that I haven't touched modding for 2 years. I made
Oh,
these
shit.
scenarios a while ago.
Yeah.
And since then, I got a full time job, and the mod
Mm-hmm.
manager kept getting worse. So that was that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a pity. And yeah, we got to move on. Um, on the other hand, Siege of Rhodes was definitely good. It was also nice. Located at Salerno is also very good and doable too. But I was like, at the end, I was like, oh shit, I couldn't do that anymore because it was too
Mm,
overwhelming. At the last, gave it a chance and I was like, okay, that's done. Siege
yeah.
of Ken, I mean, that was very doable too. I did it, I think, in a way that not many players would do because I didn't even besiege Ken
Yes.
itself.
I'm quite proud of that. The choices
Yes,
open to the
yes,
player there. Yeah.
yes. I know, I'm good at least a bit. No, but yeah. Once again, that's why we're going to be talking. Your scenarios over here definitely left so much encouragement, and that is why I'm going to come with this first question right away. What sparked your interest in creating these custom campaigns or scenarios? Was there a particular game or moment that hooked you, or a certain historical figure, perhaps community that inspired you? Because before we even entered this interview, you've mentioned like, hey, Command and Conquer Generals. That is also something that I've also seen.
Yeah.
StarCraft, and yeah, like the. Ha- Tell me more about it. Elaborate. Spit it out.
Yes. So why what made me do it in the first place? You listed a few possibilities there, all of the above,
Mm,
basically. But the leading thing is really quite simple.
mm,
The campaigns that shipped with Age of Empires 4, the ones that the actual devs made, I love them a lot.
mm-hmm,
They're they're really good, and they've got their issues, sure, and they had a few
mm-hmm,
bugs, but they've worked out a lot of those bugs, and some of them are really hard, like the one of the Sultan's Ascent missions. If you
mm-hmm.
played it on
Yep,
hard difficulty,
yep.
well, let's just say the Beastie, the like best pro player in the game,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Marine
one of the
Lord.
best pro player in the game,
Yeah.
he like made a video specifically showing him beating this mission on hard, which just shows you if he thought it was worth his time to create a video about it, just shows how hard it actually was. But aside from that, I loved how the campaigns were done and everything about it. The narration, the sort of documentary style, is definitely a creative choice, but
Mm-hmm.
that was really good as well. But they only made four of them, or
True.
five once Sultan's Ascent came
Mm-hmm.
along, and I wanted more.
Yep.
So I took it upon myself to give it a go. Um, and I found that one or two people had already been giving it a go, like Marco, beforehand. So there was this little community of people. There was a wider community of Age of Empires 4 modders, but very few of them were actually looking at making these custom scenario mod missions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was mainly I loved what they did with the campaigns, and I wanted to see more of it. And I like my history.
True.
I
Same.
grew up playing Rome Total War, so my fate was sealed
Yeah.
into a sort of like I never studied history,
Mm-hmm.
but I do enjoy reading it,
Playing
and I
through
go
and get
down
the
all these
feelings.
yeah going down all these Wikipedia rabbit holes with various things, which is probably how most of these mod ideas started. Even
Yeah.
if if, not saying that those were my only sources, but yeah, and I would tend towards like obscure things. Like I didn't want to do Agincourt, which is
Yeah.
very famous in England, because that was the obvious thing. That's what everybody would go for.
Mm-hmm.
So if I read about something on Wikipedia or wherever, which I thought, wow, that battle, that historical episode sounds really cool. Um, and yet nobody knows about it. I think I want more people to know about that.
Yeah,
Now that's not saying that that historical accuracy is present in all of my missions, but that's just sort of how my brain works there.
yeah. No, there's going to be coming some questions in that regards too, but by all
Mm-hmm.
means, thanks for spitting that out too. No problem. Um, no, that I'll take that very much for valid answers as well over here and very elaborate too. I love it, and by all means, from so far from many of the creators that I've heard, some have taken very little people have taken the notes from either books or most of them take inspiration from games, and just as you
Yeah,
mentioned from the Sultan Ascendant, there were actually 8 missions apparently here. And some people do play through hard or very hard or just moderate. I don't mind. I find no shame for those even playing it on easy difficult, so long you enjoy it and have fun, and of
yeah,
course,
absolutely.
be able to check out the way that they work, because in Age of Empires 2 it's far more different. Instead of doing like the documentary like cutscenes in Age of Empires 4, which makes it a little bit more different than Age of Empires 2.
Yes, indeed.
Um, Here's then another question for you right away. If you, well, this is gonna be a sad question, is it actually? How, what factions did you enjoy playing in Rome 2? I mean, Rome. What the fuck?
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's been a while since I played Rome. There's been a lot more Rome 2
Mm-hmm.
since. There aren't that many factions in Rome 1, are there? I always
No.
liked Parthians, um,
Mm-hmm.
even though that's kind of pretty scummy, just horse archers and cataphracts and
Yeah.
things like that. Uh, Carthage.
Mm-hmm.
Carthage. I always liked Roman history, and Rome, very mainstream and everything, and their sort of arch nemesis for a period was the city-state of Carthage,
Yeah.
and they give a sort of we know about them from the Punic Wars. There's just this sort of snapshot in history
True.
of them before they're wiped out, and then so I play them because it was like a what if, like an alternate history.
Yeah.
What if the Carthaginians actually won? What if the Carthaginians conquered Egypt?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that would be my choice.
No, that's an interesting answer. I like that as well, because we
Mm.
always enjoy, especially in Age of Empires 2, their most campaigns are like what if and how, you know, that's how they focus. And in Age of Empires 4 is far more different. So it's definitely nice to see you guys also mentioning this. Um, I'll move now to the original questions with the second one. Where do you find most inspiration from? Perhaps certain games or books, movies, or real life events? Because,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I've gone into a bit already.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of my mod missions make mention of Command and Conquer Generals inspiring them. They're not exactly like the missions that I mentioned, but yeah, I don't know what it is about Command and Conquer Generals. Just if you played with toy soldiers as a kid, then
I
Command
did.
and Conquer Generals is just the perfect like it's the perfect sort of form of that.
True.
It's not well, it's not so much historical episode. It's supposed to be like near future, and it's just dumb soldiers shooting each other, flying around, fancy tech, things like that. I don't know how better to describe it, really. Just yeah, toy soldiers for for when you get older, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. That's my favorite Command and Conquer game. There were other RTSs
Yeah,
that had an impact as well.
AK-47 for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play it?
Yeah, no, I did, I sure did.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's
so
just
that's
I've
that. The Siege of Caen mission. That the fact that all the buildings dropped loot
yeah,
is a very specific reference to that angry mob mission in
yeah,
Command and Conquer Generals.
it was. and I got that feeling as well. But I was like also like scrolling around to different things, like trying to find those gods and those stuffs as well. Like I was, it did like tipping the head. I did get that feeling, but I was a lot more like focused on an entire different mission. That's what I will say. So you can definitely put a pat on the shoulder.
Hmm.
Um, but it was definitely tipping the head towards that mission for sure. And I just did not really cover it on YouTube. Maybe I will one day, but for now I'm like
Did
full
you not?
focus on
Oh, oh,
well
you
it,
mean the original Command Conquer Generals one?
yeah, I've not really
Yeah.
covered it on
Okay.
YouTube. I have played it through when I was a little kid and had like a
Yeah.
CD kind of PC. Now we have, well, different ones.
I think
So
I think if you go back to it, it might have aged quite a bit. It might not hit quite the same way.
yeah, true.
But
But
yeah, going back to inspiration,
mm,
that I read quite a lot from this one historian, Tom
mm,
Holland. It's
mm,
mostly Roman history, but there's some medieval stuff in there.
mm,
Um, the blockade at Salerno mission,
mm,
uh, that's quite a that's my most sort of bombastic character driven thing, right?
yeah,
You've got the Normans calling the like Saracen pirates like arse weasels and things like that. Very sort of English general from medieval to Total War.
yeah,
And you've got the enemy general sort of heckling you like they might do in Command and Conquer General Zero Hour. And yet the description for the mission is very wow, Christianity is on its last legs. It's 999. It's 1 year. It's 1 year before the Antichrist. Like,
yeah,
I think there's a bit of a disconnect going on there. I think writing that description, you might be able to tell that I've been reading some shit.
yeah,
So yeah, reading a lot of stuff from Tom Holland, who tries to tell history with quite a good. He's quite a good storyteller. Well, telling the accurate history. And so he sort of unravels a lot of the mystery behind what we sort of think of as the Dark Ages and the turn of the millennium.
mm,
And he also has a podcast, which I listen to. And that was what inspired me to start with the Flower and the Lion English campaign, which
mm.
which I made Sluis
Slice,
Slows
yeah,
and Caen for.
yeah,
So yeah, quite a lot of inspiration from there as well.
yeah. No, yeah, that's really cool to hear, honestly. And I have definitely liked the blockade at Salerno in 1999, and you know, let's say each of your creations have a different place in my heart as well, be it good or be it bad. Um,
Mm.
but I've definitely enjoyed it, and also the referees over there that are present being, to Christianity, or how those guys made those remarks towards those Harrison pirates as well. It was just still amazing, and it was really fun to see because this is something I don't really see in Age of Empires 2. The blockaded Salerno, for example. This is kind of a mission I think they could have done also very well too. But if we're gonna weigh in how much custom campaigns and scenarios there are, then I think it vastly outnumbers Age of Empires 4. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, big time,
So yeah,
and
I
for good
mean,
reason.
true. I mean, it's like still one of the good old, but gold games for sure compared to Age of
Hmm.
Empires 1. But like Iceberg 112 said, he still wishes to still make the ancient antiquity kind of battles as well, like with Babylon or so, and like you've already
Yeah,
referred
I-
to some great timing
I've
as well. Hmm?
I've read. I also from Tom Holland. I've also read his translation of Herodotus,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely have said before that if Age of Empires 5 was
Mm-hmm.
in the like ancient classical era again, then I would just make a 12 mission campaign for the Persians and a 12 mission campaign for the Greeks. I'd just be ready to do that.
I'd love
um,
that, but again, it's a rumor. If there's gonna be an Age of Empires 5, yeah, I actually
yeah,
don't believe
no,
it.
it was just something I would say to
Yeah,
show how into it I was. I'm
yeah,
definitely going to be a bit rusty on my history there as well now.
yeah. I mean, here's an idea. Um, I would encourage to try out Age of Empires 2 modding. It's a lot more stable and a lot more good. And you have Return of the Rome, where you do have the Achaemenid Empire and the Athens, the Spartans. You have
Yes.
the
This,
Macedonians. You have the Thracians, and I think there's going to be more following up coming as well. But that's just speculation as well, and also wish. But if it will come to
yes.
reality, that's something we cannot really foresee. We have no, like magical ball in our hands. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I would have a bit to say about why I'd choose Age of Empires 4 as a medium for my
Mm-hmm.
for the missions as opposed to Age of Empires 2. Like
Mm-hmm.
they cover the same period, okay, but there's a lot of style choices between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the two main things for me that make Age of Empires 4 superior to Age of Empires 2 um,
How dare you? I'm
are
joking.
yeah, well, I'm pretty sure people would agree with me. First of
Mm-hmm.
all,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat surprising maybe, the music. Oh my god, the music and the sound design in Age of Empires 4 is so phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll listen to the music like at the gym. I'll, I'll just I'd always be listening to it when I was creating mods for the game that the music was from, and it was dynamic as well.
Yeah.
It is dynamic as well, so it picks up when combat starts, and it's so immersive. I think that's what I look for in video games:
Yeah.
immersion. And the other thing is historical authenticity. It's a bit
Mm-hmm.
flimsy to say that when I'm literally just talking about how units look and how buildings look.
Mm-hmm.
I doesn't. Well, maybe the Rise of Rome is that what the DLC was called? Maybe the Roman and Achaemenid stuff is different, but
Yeah, there
it
is.
it did bother me in Age of Empires 2 that I'd play the melee and they've
Mm-hmm.
got their karambit warriors, they're great fun, and cheaper elephants, uh, and then their men at arms look exactly the same as Britain men at arms.
True.
That sort of thing. I know it
Yeah.
shouldn't make too much of a difference, but it always bothered me.
Yeah. Same. I mean, that is, I think, that is what they're also lately changing in Age of Empires 2, because along with the entire navy overhaul, with the things coming, we had our priest skins also entirely changed, and
Oh
quite a few
yeah.
castle changes, the temple wear changes. Like they're still, I
Yes.
think they're starting to work on these things, but it's like a very slow pace and not much
Yeah.
things.
I have noticed. I think somebody there has a similar frame of mind to me now about how the game should look because it is old, and
Yeah,
even history has come. Studies of history have come a long way since. What when did it release? 15, 20 years ago.
true. I mean, because there's like different theories coming up, and they are fact. They turn into facts, and they oust the
Mhm.
previous theories out of what they
Yeah.
claim to be a fact as well. And that's why we as humans are always advancing and curious creatures to see what is true, what is not true, and eager learners. So that comes in within due time. And I do, however, agree. In Age of Empires 4, you have very immersive music, that's for sure, whenever you get to it. Compared to in Age of Empires 2, the soundtrack there are all still, well, still outnumbering Age of Empires 4, I find, but it's not, how should I say, changed according to its places over here. So, yeah. But on the other hand, I would definitely say check it out, because, like, not just the Return of the Rome mod, but, like, the Alexander campaign was far more better, and I really liked it. Even if the historical accuracy is just not very good, before anyone will throw tomatoes, like, how dare you!
Mm.
Alexander was just too much of a drama queen, like portrayed. I'm like, still, they've given us like 21 missions and great battles and all that, even though there's still more that can be shown. But then comes the modding team with, for example, like Christophers and Ozzy, who create a nice custom campaign, a very great one, and highly advise everyone to check it out too. Once again, shout out to these two golden lads, and um, that's why I like say check it out, and maybe it could be very good too. I'm not trying to like say migrate away from here. No, if you have time and all that, it's just ideas and
Yeah.
guidelines for everyone.
Fair
Either
enough.
way, I still find Age of Empires 4 deserves better too. Um, I'll move now to the next question as well, because I still wholeheartedly agree with you, and I do listen to stuff as well in the gym. So you're not alone. You're not in a minor. um, Can you tell us about one of your favorite creations? Because you mentioned Blockade of Salerno you adored a lot, Battle of Slice, but which one
Yeah,
would you favor so much? Because if I also look over here in the screen of how much downloads it has been, like the Siege of Rhodes, must I tell you how much? More than 3,666 downloads. Siege of Vienna,
yeah,
2,649. These are big numbers, lad. And then the Blockade of Salerno, 1,754. Of course, some people might be interested in these, or they always know how it goes, but some don't really look good in their opinion. But it can be different. And same thing for Defense of Multan, for example, 2,169. And then the Battle of Sluys goes very low. I don't know why, but 849. Then you have the Siege of Caen, 1,004. So you can see there's big playing there, and the community likes specific, how should I say, events, I guess. And I will also definitely say that the filtering in this mod sections are horrible, though.
yeah. It is. It's bad. It's probably the worst sort
It
of
is. I agree.
storefront, the worst sort of search function
I
I've ever
agree.
seen.
It
It's
is.
dreadful, and that's just one of the problems with it. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe we come on to the rest later. But
True.
talking about my creations,
Yeah. Which one? Favorite?
um, so it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best feedback I've gotten by far is for Siege of Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
and that absolutely makes sense. It's probably the one I put most time into.
Mm-hmm.
The one where I went further than I usually would with the decoration, but
Mm-hmm.
also important to say, someone else helped with that mission, so I published it, and someone thought, I can improve this. I can make this look good because that's what they like doing. The people like Marco and
Mm-hmm.
the person who did help with this mod, Comrade Ping, um, they are amazing at making a map look full and beautiful and historically authentic. And I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I will try and get the bare minimum aesthetics into the map that I
Mm-hmm.
think I can get away with to make it like approach campaign quality, but even then it probably won't. And to just focus on the gameplay basically and the immersion. But yes, so Siege of Rhodes, um, I published it, and this person decorated it. Said, "Hey, uh, I've decorated it. What do you think?" And I said, "That looks beautiful. Let's put it in the mod." So we updated the mod. So two of us worked on that now, and so everything uh, outside of the city, outside of the castle, including the moat, which the
Mm-hmm.
moat is amazing, by the way,
Yeah,
was
it
all
is.
done by him basically. So
Yeah.
big props to Comrade Ping for that. Um, but yeah, I didn't think that Rhodes was going to turn out quite so well because I thought with the Age of Empires 4 campaigns that the missions where you attack a castle or attack a town or some kind of fortification, I think those are the weak points of the Age of Empires 4 vanilla campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I'd have a go at it to see if I could do any better. So I don't know if I did, but but yeah, this was my attempt, and yeah, it's. I think one of the things I love about it is that you're the Ottoman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to play the Ottoman Empire, then you'll have a good time playing this scenario. Um, but you're up against all the Western European Christian
Yeah.
factions that were currently in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I made it before the Crusader, the what are they? The Knights Templar made it into the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yeah, yeah.
But I try my best with the other factions to make an international fighting force that you had to take on to destroy the uh, the fortress. And it's somewhat historically authentic or somewhat historically accurate as well, because when you read about the siege, it talks about how the Ottomans attack the different towers that are used to defend the city, and the towers are divided among the different nationalities, the different kingdoms that make up the order. So there's an English tower, there's a German tower, there's a Spanish tower, there's a French tower, and probably a couple more. But what we had was English, Holy Roman Empire, and France. So we can make those as towers. 3 is a good number of things to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Straightforward premise for a mission with quite a vanilla campaigny beginning. Like, it's quite common in the vanilla campaign to start with an army, it captures somewhere, and then you use that as your base to attack somewhere bigger. Very conventional, and yet I think it as far as I've heard, it worked quite well. And yeah, but I do really like all of my mod missions. There's always some experimenting that I do, some different experimenting that I do in each of them. But yeah, we'd be here forever if I talked about all of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind, honestly. Like I said, the current the current highest record with the interviews is 5 hours. So I don't think if we can reach that. Maybe we can. Who knows? But like I said, I don't mind it, and I'm certain the audience would mind it too. For so far, I've literally had many of them being watched mostly until the end. So I'm very happy. Um, but I definitely agree. You know, the Siege Froze was definitely good. I also been able to play it through, even if I like struggled quite a lot. I was still not very good um, with it
Yeah,
too.
I
And
I think, yeah, the constant pressure, I think, put on it, it's a siege. It's supposed to be hard.
yeah,
Sieges are difficult slogs. It's not going to be something where you build one army and barrel all the way through. It's a
true,
constant battle of attrition.
true, and that is what it was because
Yeah.
whenever I tried to push forward, especially on the bridge, it felt very um, interactive for sure because the enemy was definitely just approaching me with knights and all that, and they're just coming to slash down. And I was definitely trying to keep it on the Ottoman kind of authentic with Janissaries or Kunja Corps. Once again, developers change them to light cavalry. For goodness sake, they're not heavy cavalry, they're light. Um, and then, that is what it should be good. And, I enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm just literally just still. Uh, in the remarks also with those towers, I was like literally like confused for a second because maybe I've read it a bit wrong. Because when I was destroying the harbors, I was like, "What the fuck? Why didn't it go?" And then I was like, "Oh, I need to destroy those towers." And then I was like, "Okay, shit." And so I destroyed them, and
Yeah.
eventually I got like those 2 cogs, and was like, "Okay, what am I gonna do with that?" I just destroyed them. Tried to go from behind though. I was not really able to do that much. I will say maybe I could have landed there and just started attacking, but I was too busy, like I said, trying to defend my right flank, my left flank, because sometimes
Yes.
it was either France or Holy Roman Empire that was just coming down with knights, like trying to harass us and trying to sally forth, right? Trying to stop us.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it worked. It sure did from time to
Hmm.
time, but eventually I got him and I was very proud of that.
And I tried to the attack waves. I tried to make them unique to their specific faction.
Mm-hmm.
So if an attack wave, a French attack wave, would come from the French bastion, and it would only be cavalry. Apart from, I think I made one attack wave of infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. The Holy Roman Empire would only send melee units
Infantry? Yeah.
because that's what they're good at,
Yeah.
and the English would only send infantry, but a lot of longbowmen.
True.
And
They sure
so I
did.
try to keep things, even if that's not how the order might have fought at the time. These are the constraints in which I'm trying to build the mission. I have these factions that are good at certain things. I have an English faction that's more or less based around the doctrine they used in Agincourt. So let's have the English Knights of St. John, is it? Um, attack as if they just, as if they were still using the same tactics as Agincourt, because that's what the game captures well about the English.
True, true. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and that's what they certainly did, and I saw it as well. I also liked how the voicing was and the historical remarks there as well. For example, whenever those guys were beaten, they were, given a choice to where to go, and they were, moved off the island with transports from the Ottoman Empire by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, or the Liar, however you want to entitle him.
Yeah,
Um,
the lawgiver, as they call him in Turkey,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. Well, yeah. I think they do that as well, or like the Magnificent. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
shout out to Suleiman, the most repeat character in all of my missions.
Yeah, exactly.
He shows up in two of them.
In Siege of Vienna, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, but that was definitely interesting as well to see as well. So I really liked it. Um,
Oh, I'm also,
mhm,
if I could say one more thing that
sure.
made me super happy throughout the process, making. So I think I made the first co-op mission available, and
Mm-hmm.
it took a lot of trial and error. But when me and a buddy sat down and tried to get in, and tried to make it work with two of us fighting this AI enemy, this scripted AI enemy, the time it actually worked. Oh, I've there's been few times in my life where I've ever been that happy. So that was a great
Yeah.
moment.
Well, I haven't played that co-op version. I might well try to do that one day if I can find something, because
I will
you
say
both.
it's not very different from the original.
Okay.
It was just sort of a quick addition. Well, not a quick addition, but just something slapped on, like another base put into the west, and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the same thing.
Hmm.
You're just doing it together now.
Hmm. I mean, hey, that's no problem. It can still be fun to play through Gara with a friend. Just doing so comp stomp game is always nice, especially if it has like a reasoning behind it in regards to like stepping the shoes back in the history, like we always say in the defense of Molten against the Chagatai Khanate.
And
Um,
I
hmm,
think Killer Pigeon and Mr. Merlin made a video with them playing it together as well,
hmm,
which was cool. Even though I think they had similar problems with enemies getting through that you did, and also the game just disconnected them
oh,
from the mission halfway through, which must be very frustrating. But that's more of a network thing. Not, I don't think it's something I can do much about.
yeah. I mean, I had that also with one of the missions as well. I don't remember which one it was. I was like, okay, screw this. I'm not gonna continue. And yeah, I couldn't do anything about that too. By all means, nothing against the creator, of course, but it was just really annoying. Um, but yeah, but it's definitely very good to see like Kill Pigeon as well trying to work with it as well. Shout out to him as well. It's too bad that he lost against Marine Lord in this time in the Red Bull Wallow tournament. Best luck to you
Oh,
next year. Um. Well, yeah. I mean, moving on to the next question. What is your favorite campaign from AOE 4? Like, if we have already mentioned the Sultan's Ascended, its campaign, but which one would you favorite? Because you have the Normans campaign, the Rise of Moscow, the 100-Year War, the Mongol Empire. You face Legacy now too. Like, which one would you say? Okay, I like that one a
yeah.
lot
No, good
because.
question.
Mm,
Definitely have thoughts on this. I haven't played the new DLC that came out recently, right?
mm-hmm,
So the last one I played was the Sultan's Ascend.
mm-hmm,
Um, the English campaign is very solid. As an English person, I think they're like historical episodes. Uh, you know, aren't the most exciting ones in the world. I like something a bit more exotic, but that's just history for you. But the missions themselves were really fun. The French campaign, even though it jumps around a lot,
mm-hmm,
it's definitely my favorite. I've played it multiple times through.
mm,
It shows the sort of second half of the Hundred Years' War, um, where the French gain the upper hand, and is probably it's part of the reason I tried to cover the sort of first half of the war from the English perspective, where they really seem to have the upper hand with the battles that
mm-hmm.
they won. So yeah, definitely definitely the French one.
Hmm. Oh, okay. So that's like
And
the
that's
usual. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's where my favorite mission is as well. Even though it's a simple mission, Ponvala. Um, Even though the cutscenes, like the documentaries around it, are a bit confusing and
Mm-hmm.
definitely don't match up with the history. Um, it's a simple premise for a mission, but it keeps you on your toes. It's challenging. You start with a very sort of humble beginning in the feudal age or the dark age, as the French, and you have to build up a force that's able to repel an entire army. Which, if that sounds familiar, it is because that's exactly the formula I used to create defensive Multan. I just shifted it to the other side of the globe.
Okay. No, that's really interesting. Mention that you now say, because if I'm thinking, yeah, you're quite great. Yeah, that's amazing. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I especially like the campaign missions where it's clear that you
Mm.
start on the back foot. Like
Mm-hmm.
you need to withdraw from the enemy, which is something you're not used to doing in games. Usually in
Yeah.
games, you just win, you know? You
True.
stand your ground and win. But there are some missions where you need to withdraw everybody, regroup, and then create a new united front. And you really feel the stakes in those situations. It's great.
Yeah. It's literally falling back, hit and run tactics like the Mongols always do. So yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
it's really good.
It's being smarter about something rather than just being stronger.
True. True. Very true. Okay, now that's definitely clear. I concur to that opinion as well, but I personally still love the Mongol Empire campaign still more. I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
my intake.
the
Um,
the penultimate mission of that
yeah.
is really hard. I find that really hard. I can never get past like 5 minutes through it. I don't know what it is about it.
Mm.
And I remember the first time I played it, it bugged out, and I had to hunt over the entire map for a springald that was hiding in the forest before it ended. But I think they've fixed that now. But yes, I agree. The Mongol Empire one is really good as well.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And honestly, if which one is here's a side question. Which one is your least favorite one? Side question.
The one I've definitely played the least is the Rus one, the Moscow
Mm-hmm.
one. I think it has some strong missions with, especially the ones where you have to defend yourself from the Mongols, or
The Horde, I think. Yeah.
pay them off. Yeah, pay off
Yeah.
the Golden Horde. That's you can feel the stakes there as well as a little town with wooden walls. You definitely feel the presence of the torches around you. But yeah, as I can say, it's more than 2 years ago. I'm going to be pretty rusty in remembering, but I think I remember the missions where you're sort of on the offense as the Rus were probably the weakest in the game. But it's like I say, all the campaigns are really good. So when I say that they're the weakest, it's still it'd still be like 8 out of 10.
Yeah. No, okay, that's still agreeable, and I wholeheartedly see that too. But for me, with the U-Phase Legacy, definitely, I just really didn't like it too much, especially
Oh,
since it recent
interesting.
new one. For me, most of the missions that were shown off, it felt most of the missions were quite similar, and a little bit way too hard from
Hmm.
for like hard difficulty. But overall, still doable.
Maybe maybe they thought that the only people still playing the game were the ones who had already played the campaign that were good enough to approach this new challenge. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of how I approached
Mhm.
modding. I didn't want to make my mods uh,
Too
you know,
easy.
deliberately. Well, I didn't want to make them deliberately hard. The
Mm-hmm.
mods are there for people that have played all the campaigns like I have and wanted more like I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So yeah, the people don't want a cakewalk after they've gone through all the other missions. You have to make them. Well, you can't make them tutorials. You,
Yeah.
people
I
people
mean,
want more, and
I I will cut you off here a bit. This is something I wholeheartedly, well, partially agree with, but at the same time don't, because when you make a campaign in scenario, I think balance is also one important thing. There's gonna be a question in regards to this too, but when you're gonna be approaching something, trying to pay think about a bigger audience is more important than just small ones, because you never know who's going to play with it. You can't be entirely sure. Certainly there's always those people who still stay with the community forever and ever, but there's also still those who are just going to be like, okay, I'm going to touch this game. It stood too long on the shelf and I still enjoy it, I love it, but I can't bring myself to play like 24 hours per day, just like most streamers and all that, like those big guys. But that is something that I feel wrong, and that's what I feel like has been done with this recent DLC as well. And um, I just also don't like how they constantly pump out new variety civilization, just like civilization of its own. And I feel like
Yeah,
it's a bit of a bad way, but that's my opinion. If I'm gonna look at the rating as well and how people have been thinking about these things, they don't like it either. Like,
oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah,
Um, with regards to the difficulty,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. You know, anybody could pick it up, and probably
true.
a multitude of people of different levels have played these scenarios, which is why I'm quite proud that, like maybe a year into my modding journey, um, I added
Mm-hmm,
difficulty selection to most of the maps. I think
mm-hmm,
everything apart from Vienna has it, because Vienna was the first thing I made and definitely was not set up in a sustainable way. But yeah, I'm quite proud of getting that going. The UI
yeah,
is just literally getting buttons saying easy, normal, hard. Uh, just getting that set up was super annoying. And by the way, if you play on Xbox, it's kind of sad, but if you play on Xbox, you can't interact with these menus. Um,
damn,
we I couldn't figure out how to get Xbox buttons mapped to the UI buttons, so that basically just meant that the game was made available on Xbox way after I'd started modding,
yeah,
um, and so once I so the difficulty presets were in there, and then Xbox people got their hands on them and said, I can't play this mission. I can't interact with the menu. It won't start.
yeah,
And I didn't. I had to choose between the difficulty presets
mm-hmm,
and the and letting Xbox players play.
yeah,
Um, and so that was a difficult choice. But I stuck with the presets at the end because I was fairly sure that playing on Xbox would probably break something else in the mission anyway.
yeah. No,
So yeah,
that really sucks for them as well. But I mean,
yeah.
PC Gamer Master Race, so yeah, no joke.
Yeah, I RTSs on Xbox. I mean, Halo Wars was fun enough as a kid on the Xbox 360, but
Mm-hmm.
not recommended. But not everybody has a gaming PC, and Age of Empires 4, contrary to Age of Empires 2, takes some system specs to run properly. And you
True,
want it to run, you want the graphics to look good, if you ask me, because it's a good looking game.
true, very true. And that is what has been accomplished in my opinion so far. It's just like certain systems cannot really work that well, in my
Mm.
opinion, in a Xbox game or console. Like I feel like consoles have far more selections compared to the PC. That's why, like I said, no offense, guys, PC gamer master race, and yeah, console is just like for those, like, again, to speak good about it, for those who just want to relax, play on the bed or something instead of a chair where you're just like always hunchbacked, right? So yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah,
just my
I'm
opinion.
shrimping it up right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Um, moving on to the next question. What is your favorite custom campaign scenario? It can be your own or of that someone else, but I'd like to encourage you to choose someone else's.
Yes, that's yeah, absolutely. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I haven't played any of the custom scenarios from Age of Empires 2. I might have said that already.
Look
Only
out.
Age of Empires 4. It's the only one that made me think there needs to be more of this. So let's get into the modding scene. Oh, there are
Yeah,
other modders.
I
Let's
agree.
look at their missions. So, um, there I think were, you know, maybe 5 or 6 of us that actually published a mod mission that
True.
you can like call a mod mission.
Yeah.
Some of them, there's a couple out there which are just like two armies smashing into each other, no intro, no explanation, no objectives, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think all of us um, mod creators had different creative approaches.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, some people were really into making it look aesthetically pleasing, while the missions were still really fun and everything. And I wasn't so much like that. I think someone else who was a bit like me and preferred the gameplay, even though his map still looked stunning, was NTL. And his English invasion, despite being not history, the English never invaded the Holy Roman Empire like that, but it's still a fun alternate history concept. I I think I vibed with his missions most. I think he made the two English invasion missions. He worked out how to get a decent like siege defense mission going,
Mm-hmm.
because trying to get the AI to use siege towers and battering rams in an intelligent way, I could never figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
I think at this point NTL was the only one that figured it out. So that was it. Yeah, it was really impressive. I don't. It was a while ago, but I think it was his missions that stuck with me most. I know, and I'm sorry, Demarco, because he and I have talked a lot about modding. We're thick as thieves. But in terms of creative decisions, I think I align more with NTL's approach to things.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there will be any kind of harsh feelings over there. It's just, preferences as well. I cannot say for sure how NTS will feel because, again, I've not been able to play it through his.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a real shame. It is a
yeah,
real
no,
shame.
but he's working on it, so I think I'm gonna be one day touching that glorious scenario which you praise. Um, but one thing for sure, like how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. How about, yeah, I think scenario and campaign wise, I think still Age of Empires 3 beats Age of Empires 4 in regards to custom campaigns and scenarios. So I think what we
You
can
mean
say,
in terms of numbers?
yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Sadly, the Age of Empires 4 is actually one of the least
yeah,
uh popular mod. Well, doesn't have money mod creators in there.
yeah.
Um,
Don't I know it?
Yeah, so, but on the other end, big pat on your shoulder and that of MTL, Marco, and whoever
Yeah,
names I've not really forgotten to mention, but I'm still trying to contact you guys, find you guys, but it's not easy.
it's yeah. The something we haven't mentioned yet. The high bar to entry for Age of Empires 4 modding as opposed to the others. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't approached modding the others, but
Yeah.
at least with the Age of Empires 2 sort of mod creator or content editor or whatever it is, it sounds a
Mm-hmm.
lot more straightforward and a lot more intuitive than the Age of Empires 4 one. If you want to make mod missions in Age of Empires 4, you got to learn to code,
Yeah.
and you've got to learn to use the very janky, prone to crashing, not very user friendly content editor.
Yeah.
Um, and it
Frustrating.
really took some getting used to.
Yeah.
Frustrating would be one word, I suppose. I knew how to code already,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and um, and I found myself with a lot of time on my hands when I started. So I was
Mm-hmm.
just doing trial and error with the content editor, trying to get each thing to work. Trial and error all the time. And while it might sound frustrating, it was actually kind of addictive trying to get these things to work for the first time, or so I thought at the time, but it turned out somebody else was also working on this. Um, yeah, it was almost addictive, just figuring out how this thing works, how that thing works, and bringing it all together in a mission to prove that it is possible. Um, but yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult to create mod missions in Age of Empires for people that haven't done coding before. Even for people that have done coding, it's not yeah, as I say, it's not intuitive. The documentation, there is documentation, but it barely scratches the surface. And they put out some guides, but once again, they barely scratch the surface. And some of them are just wrong. So, yeah, not great for people to approach for the first time. And there are lots of people who have and still do, message asking how they can do a certain thing in the Discord server, in the modding Discord server. And people tried to help them there, but I'm not sure that a decent percentage of them actually made it to the to publish the mod mission that they wanted to publish,
Yeah,
which
no, that
is it's pretty heartbreaking.
true. I wholeheartedly agree because I was thinking, okay, Age of Empires 4 would be maybe a lot popular, but when I jumped in here, I was like, first, what a shit, mod filters over here. And I was like, okay, I'll try to find it. Press the campaign on the search bar. I was like, what? So
Mm-hmm.
few? I was like, oh damn, I'll finish it within a few days. And I was like, okay, well, I still done it. I'm still surprised at it because again, just like you mentioned, there's so much aesthetics and all so much models and all that stuff that you can create over here in that regard. But like I said, I
Yeah,
still want the creators as well to stop creating these variety civilizations, make proper ones, and stop using the same voice acting thingy again. Like, come on, open your wallet. You guys are rich up there. Um, but on the end, like it really surprised me. It was really saddening. The one good side, though, whenever you subscribe to something, you can right away jump into the play. That's one thing. Because compared to Age of Empires 2 and Age of Mythology, you have to restart your game real quickly so that everything works
oh
fluidly.
really?
Here, no need. You just right away jump
Okay,
in, you
well
host
that's good.
it. Yeah, and you're right away able to play it. And that's one good thing for sure. And there's no need to like move certain files on like an Age of Empires 3 where you have to like move your mod from your mod folder, the scenario file, into the scenario folder. Or when someone else made like a different home city, you move that from the campaign to the campaign folder. And like I've always also
Mhm.
been very informative in regard to how you install these things, but in here I didn't need to do that. So it was like very amazing to have. So honestly, it was a
Yeah,
blast.
I'm glad to hear that. From the other side of the window there, from the modding side,
Mm-hmm.
that experience that you had with getting mods to work on Age of Empires 2 sounds a lot like testing the mod you're developing in Age of Empires 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that's most frustrating about the modding process.
Yeah.
If you want to test your mod, you need to publish it in the content editor and then open the game. I don't know if this is the case in Age of Empires 2 or not. Then you
Uh-huh.
have to open the game itself and wait for it to do its startup and everything, and that takes a minute, 2 minutes, whatever, and then load the mission and get in there as if you were opening a skirmish,
Yeah.
uh, going all the as if you were going from just having no game open to opening a skirmish, which
Yeah.
takes a few minutes. And if you want to change one little thing in your scenario, then you've got to quit out of the scenario as you're playing it, go back to the content editor, make the change, and then publish, and then open the game again. And that's another 2 minutes just to test the thing. The sort of debugging tools were not there,
Yeah.
which I wasn't a very good coder at the time. I debugging was pretty alien to me, so I didn't really know what people were talking about. But the lack of the ability to sort of test stuff and change things and
Mm-hmm.
monitor things on the fly really annoyed some of the other content creators.
Yeah. I mean, wholeheartedly agree, and I can definitely see your point as well. And the way you mention it as well, it's just really heartbreaking as well. And that's why we, should definitely be voicing out our concerns in this regard in hopes that the creators definitely take heed of our um, voices over here because this is just really concerning. There's just major priority that they should take in and then tackle it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um, but okay, I mean, I don't know how it works on Age of Empires 2 on regards to the modding thing as well. Neither in Age of Mythology or Age of Empires 3, but each ways have like different good sides and bad sides in regards to um, how they work with the scenarios and all, or like how you start it or download it. Like each of you do subscribe, you do get the files and all that. Only in, like I said, in Age of Empires 3, you just gotta copy and paste it. In Age of Mythology, you don't need to worry about anything. Only in Restart It, and that's where the game also mentions when you return to the main menu. Restart your game real quickly. In Age of Empires 2, nope, no mention in that regard. So you see, each of them have their strength and negativity, but this is why I
Mhm.
also say, like, in the interviews as well, what do you guys think? What do you think should be needed? And that's where we're gonna get at too, because yeah, I'll be asking you right away the next question too, because we're getting right away close in that regard to when I'm gonna be asking you guys like what you guys need to think, what should be changed in the create, not modding creation and all that. But first, let's just get to the a bit of heart to heart conversation, because we have definitely heard you guys definitely struggle. Um, you have struggling moments, let's say that. So that's
Mhm.
why the question 6 comes in. What have been your most challenging moments in your journey as a custom campaign or scenario creator, and how did you guys try to overcome them?
Hmm. Yeah. So, like I say, I wasn't a very good coder, so I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what was missing that should have been there at the time, and lots of other people did. And I'm quite a patient person,
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't bother me that much at the time. So working these things out, something that didn't work, tried a bunch of things, and
Mm-hmm.
now it does work. Like I say, that was a very fulfilling process. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's biggest challenges. It's you know, faced with adversity like that can be overcome. It's that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I would call these sort of technical frustrations uh, like the worst challenges. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. It definitely. I think I heard in one of your other interviews
Mm-hmm.
somebody was talking about getting burned out.
Yeah, there are
Um,
many. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so getting I think so. I was modding for almost a year and a half, and I think by the time that uh, I had gotten accepted for a full time job, and by the time that the content creator was deteriorating and starting to crash all the time, which is another thing, um, I was probably approaching that sort of burnout stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, there is that as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so and one shouldn't force oneself to go through and make these mods if you're feeling very burned out, and the chances are you'll probably feel more like you might come back to it later and feel more invigorated to do it at that time. um, so, it's not modding isn't an obligation. You don't have to see it through all the time. um, so yeah, you can take breaks in the cases that you're burnt out, but I just realized that I've just sort of stolen someone else's answer in lieu of my own. Um, so yeah, in terms of things that we've overcome, like I say, the sort of difficulties in a technical sense with the content creator, I don't think much of it has been listened to. So have we overcome it? Yeah, not so sure about that. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that's the best I got.
Hmm. No, okay, that's okay. I mean, I can definitely understand. Like you mentioned, it seems you have definitely also reached a certain point as well for burnout, and that's
Mhm.
alright. And it's better to tackle that and just take a big break before it's gonna get worse. Because trying to uh, uh have a burnout, extend is just not something definitely fun. And that's what, like you've mentioned, you've heard it from whoever it is, but there's been quite a few multiple people Even the recent one with Iceberg 112, he also openly and very how should I say, something that one can definitely applaud, admitted he also had some burnouts too. And it is something serious. You know, we are humans, we all have emotions, we're not robots, we got no, like wheels turning in our heart. No, we have a heart, we have feelings, so we gotta, deal with those. And that's
Hmm.
better that you gotta take a step back for a moment, then come in full with a clear mind to go forward. But that's of course if you want to continue forward with it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also very nice to hear how you have definitely tried to tackle this and overcome these struggles for sure.
Well, my solution was stopping, mainly because I had
Yeah,
I got a job, and the content creator wasn't doing very well.
mm,
So yeah, I know. I don't think I ran into any big problems with burnout, but I could feel it approaching.
yeah,
Which and I sort of knew it was going to happen when I started with the sort of English mini campaign as well. Like I made Slurs and I made Caen, and I had claimed all along that there were going to be 5 missions, but alas, only 2 missions uh, came along. Even though I had the other three, well, at least 2 of them fully planned out. So yeah, it's pretty heartbreaking that they didn't happen, and are probably not going to happen. But yeah,
yeah. That's okay. I mean, even many people have also 40 hours of kind of work and all that, or just decide also just stop with their content creation journey. That's okay. And again, it's choice, right? I respect it, I encourage it, and I hope you will have big successes in your work as well. um, and of course, like I said, it's just a pity that you had to make a choice over here too. um, but yeah, again, there's no judging here, only encouragement. um, Here comes the next question. Have you collaborated with other creators? If yes, what tips would you give for a successful partnership in the community? If no, would you be up for collaborations? Because this is something I want to touch. It is something very unique that I've seen so high in Age of Empires 4 compared to Age of Empires 2, Age of Mythology, and Age of Empires 3. Because when I'm going to look through all these campaigns, the scenarios, there's like so many critters of similar people, names, like for example, again, in the Kingstrator, Foxplot, NTL. Siege of Can, if I'm going to go down below, I can definitely see like a lot of talk over here and um, remarks of how credit these people. And even in the Battle of Terrain, for example, Marcora is also again by Marcoristan and then Marco on Discord and all. And Foxplot, NTL, Seabass, Girl Blast, and it's just like literally you guys have definitely been seeming to, even if it's just a little, having collaborated, helped each other, and that's just so great. Especially something
yeah,
that I really adore, encourage, because it is efficiency. The more that you help people, the less time it's gonna cost for you, and you're working on to create something even more quicker. You make get different opinions, views to make it even better. Just like you mentioned again with how Siege of Rhodes worked, especially the moat, like the bridge, right? That also made it very look good and more historical aesthetic, right? And
yeah. There's a lot going on with that
yeah,
question.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
but
so
it's just so great. Yeah.
yeah, Marco is
Mm-hmm.
a great guy. He's really nice. He loves to
Mm-hmm.
credit people. He loves to
Mm-hmm.
say, "Oh, this person's great" and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's so he's really nice. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting that you say that this is more present in Age of Empires 4, like as
True.
if I don't know what the I don't know what it's like with the other games, but I sort of get the implication that everybody sort of works in isolation. Is that
Mm-hmm.
so?
I
Yeah.
think so as well. I don't know. Maybe everyone is more like introvert. Again, it's not a bad word. Many people will be, oh, I'm not introvert. No, calm down. I mean, everyone's like more
Yeah.
focused on their
I,
self
th- I
things and don't really want to, or just don't like their projects to work and find it it's gonna be lost cause at times, or that they can conflict. It's why I'm asking this question, because, like I said, I
Mm,
think it is better in Age of Empires 4 compared to Age of Empires 2, because I don't see much collaborations,
yeah,
especially when I ask previous creators. There's very little remark to that, but many of them are open for collaborations, though. But in
I
here, it's
think
like literally put in practice.
think it may be another effect,
Mm-hmm.
another knock-on effect of just how high the barrier for entry, the bar for entry is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's difficult to get into. You have to learn coding. You have to code things very specifically. You have to place things on the map very specifically. So I think we had to help each other. We had to trade notes on how to do things. We had to talk in the Discord about, whether any of the campaign missions contained this specific mechanic, and where to find it, where to rip it out and put it in your own mission. So it was really important, I think, for us to work together to work things out. I definitely learned a lot from the others in the Discord, like Ping, the guy who I did collaborate with, which I have already talked about. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who made the Siege of Rhodes map look so good. He also figured out. I don't know if he was the first to figure it out, but he also figured out how to take someone's take what was it? Basically duplicate a mod and make your own changes to it, which sounds kind of bad. It sounds like stealing someone else's mod. But if you wanted to collaborate on these things, or if you wanted to take a mission that was already in the campaign, for instance, and well, I don't think you could take the campaign itself, but you could take the map out of the mod. If you wanted that, then you had to go through this process that I didn't know how to do before. So duplicating a mod to make changes to it, that's definitely something I got out of there, as well as
Yeah.
loads of stuff for coding, code snippets, what to do with the map, how to manipulate things to get walls to work, to place rivers in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there had to be a lot of collaboration there for us to for us to progress basically. So while I'm not sure anybody worked extensively together on a single mission, there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of collaboration in there. But there is, since I stopped, there's been this sort of group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Did they call themselves Forgotten Empires? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, the Forgotten Vampires. They also still work for like Microsoft. They they recently made a lot of
Oh,
campaigns in Age of Empires 2 and Age of
okay.
Mythology.
I'm thinking about something else then.
Okay.
There's a group of the modders sort of came together in a sort of conglomerate. I think mainly so that they could like promote each other's missions, like
Mm-hmm.
or each other's tuning packs. Like you might have seen a lot of like civilization variant mods, like the Scottish or the Danish or the Spanish. People trying their best to create these civs in their own tuning pack mods. And I haven't tried any of them, but quite a few came from this group of people that sort of banded together. So if you can get, I don't know who exactly is in it, but it might be worth trying to ask them whether they're part of that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to search it up and I'll find it
Yeah,
too. And
I can't remember the exact name, but I can message you later with it.
yeah, please do. Sure. Anyone, by the way, anyone, even within their creator company or
Yeah, well, that's the
anyone
thing.
else.
It's such a small group of us that made mod missions that
Yeah.
I think we've already
Hey,
mentioned
hey,
everybody.
by all means, it's still okay because, like I said, unlike an Age of Empires 2, who have failed again to find everyone, I've still been able to find you guys, and that is simply through the Age of Empires official Discord server. And from there
Mhm.
on, I've also like written down your guys' name on Discord and was like, okay, let's try this friend request, and it's like, okay, it worked. And then I'm like, okay, let's try it out, continue, and then ask you guys around, and that's how it went. But like I've also suggested to many of you guys older, like please try to write at least like a Discord server or an email or even Steam name down so I can just like bam go for you guys and connect with you, and even for a constructive feedback. Because here's another thing that I want to say about Age of Empires 4. Unlike in Age of Empires 2, there's like no link leading to the Age of Empires forums where you can leave a review. There's no kind of link of that, and that sucks. I can leave a review here, but cannot state like why, what, where, and when. And that just made me so frustrated. In Age of Mythology, it's the same thing. In Age of Empires 3, same thing. And that just sucks, because only Age of Empires 2 has that. But that's just my opinion, of course. So,
Mhm.
yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I still think you've got also still a valid point as well. And people who are still trying to also help each other and promote one
Yes.
another too is balance. So you can get, who knows, maybe an employment or a commission from Age of Empires itself or like Microsoft to maybe make a campaign in regards to a upcoming DLC. Because I still
Uh,
think, sure,
yeah.
Forgotten Empires currently still does a good job. Sometimes I feel like they're starting to become either rusty, or they're just taking the wrong choice, or they're just being forced to take that choice. But yeah, and on the other hand, like I said, overall, these guys are also very ambitious. You guys are artists, just like me and Lorenzo said. Well, Lorenzo also mentioned you guys are artists, you're creators, influence, all whatever you're gonna call it, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
And especially when you say like coding is even more influential in this, then I'm like, oh shit. I said I'm never gonna be able to do this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the extent to which you need to do coding in the other ones. I sort of
Yeah.
assume for some sort of trigger things to happen or timers, there needs to be some coding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's just the documentation is very bare bones
Yeah.
for this SCAR
Mm-hmm.
programming language, scripting at Relic.
Yeah. No, I mean it's understandable, and by all means I still treasure this honestly.
Mm.
Um
I think you mentioned like being commissioned by
mhm.
the devs to make missions. I think they did that with Age of Empires too, didn't they?
Yeah,
There's
they
one
do.
creator with some quite beloved missions that they
Yeah.
brought in to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there there was a time where I was thinking, oh, it would be really cool to do that, but my missions are not up to the standard that you'd expect for a proper campaign missions, and that's that's partly that obviously that's partly my fault, but also we don't get access to all the tools that they have to make these missions. Like for instance, the custom audio. There's you've just got a text to speech bot reading everything because you can't put in your own audio, which
Mm,
is a real shame. It really takes the immersion out of it.
yeah.
And you can't do that much with cutscenes, which you'd really want to do with storytelling. So I try my best. I experiment, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it would be cool yeah, back when I was modding, I was thinking it would have been cool to do some of this stuff and get it put into an actual game, but yeah, it wasn't gonna be it wasn't to be.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And like I said, those guys from Forgotten Empires, because they were passionate creators and modders who back in the day offered like a different mod, different civilizations who were forgotten indeed, like the Hindustanis or the Incas, for example, into the game. And many people who still had those CDs used to play those on via Voobly or Game Ranger until it started to become a reality that Microsoft's like, hey, you guys come here, we're gonna start revamping Age of Empires all the way, and they did it. Then you had first HD edition, then came the Definitive edition, now came many more DLCs, and with the Lost Chieftains DLC, there's quite a few campaigns made by Lord Bassi and Trirem, who many people might know, might not, but they're the ones who are behind it, and some, of course, who've also helped them to create these three different campaigns. Um, worked, and they're also the ones who are also behind in Age of Mythology creators as well, because that's how Forgotten Empires goes forth with, and it's still quite a good and gracious way to go forth with. Um, but yeah, who knows, maybe, like I said, it would always be awesome to have you, for example, or anyone else also in here, because that's why my opinion as well is my attempt with these interviews is to put you guys in a show, spotlight. Like, you guys are also ambitious. You guys also have potential to become good ones too. And I'm like, hey, look at these, and look at their CVs, look at their portfolio of campaigns and scenarios that I have like millions of videos from, and I'm doing it of course free of charge. So look at it, you guys as well, and there's nothing wrong to take a peek, to take a tryout, and just have fun. Because again, that's what gaming is supposed to be. Um, but yeah, it's just a matter of if they can see it, if they will see it, and when they will see it, what they will do with it. So yeah, but
Well, yeah, yeah, I don't think.
hmm,
Where was I going? Where was I going with this? I don't think that I'm gonna be. Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be much more attention on
yeah,
modding from the devs personally, and especially mod creators. They're just not looking at that at the moment. They had quite a few layoffs and
yeah,
stripped things back a lot,
mm,
and modding sort of fell by the wayside. So I don't think we've really been looked at for a long time now.
yeah. I mean,
But
it's
yeah,
not just here only. Like, again, I don't know how you are well known, especially since you're a StarCraft player. You must certainly be aware of how Battle.net is, and Activision, and Blizzard, in regards to their policies. For example, with how they did it with Warcraft 3, right? Battle.net with the rights, for example, it was also an outrageous time, right? Um,
oh, was this? I'm not familiar. I haven't played Blizzard stuff in a long time, but I
mhm.
take it this is sort of monetizing mod content that
True,
people have
true.
created.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was also like saying like your rights are ours, right? You cannot say like it's yours, it's Battle.net things. And it was also creating like a very furious reaction from the creator. And that's why I say
Yeah.
like it can always change when you speak so loudly about it. It can change, but it's just a matter if you've enough voices and enough support to voice out these concerns, because any king can be dethroned and any company can be bankrupt. And that is what I see can be done with people who simply do not buy those games. Like, if you don't like a game, guys, if you don't support certain actions, don't buy it. That's how capitalism works. Don't take capitalism as like, yeah, a fat ass just lashing a thin ass dude. No, that's not how capitalism works. You're just not gonna pay it. The entire chain line will burn down, and that's it. Sure, it is sad for those who are working and earning their money, but hey, it's also your money, and it's also your health. It is also, the future, how it's going to be indicated, especially with these creators like you guys, which have potential. That's why I'm like, again, as I always say, a shot never fired is always a miss, even though any shot can be a miss too. But still, try it out. Life is an adventure. You'll only live once. Try it out, go for it, and have fun. Because like I always say too, when I look at these guys, what you create, and as I've mentioned before, how many download rates there has been, there's quite a lot of you over here. And that's just very cool to see and to have fun with, right? Because again, did you expect me to ever come into the scenery to be like, hey dude, I've played your
Uh,
scenario, can I interview you guys? No, right? So that's the thing, you never know.
no, yeah, yeah, no. I think perhaps the thing we modders crave most is feedback, to see
True.
other people play our scenarios
Yeah.
and give feedback on them. I think that's the most important thing. But
True.
for any one of my missions, I probably received a maximum of 5 people that came back to me and said anything
Damn.
about it.
Damn.
Which, so yeah, no, I didn't think it was very likely that I'd be hearing much about these mods 2 years on.
Damn. Well, that's why I'm like, also like me as an influencer too, even if it's a small one, try to give that, feedback to as much as I can as well, and try to also pull people together as well, because that is what an influencer should do. It should not be like, okay, I need to worry about how many views or clickbait, bots, views. How can I portray this? Be fully, be jolly. No, you guys are starting to neglect a good side, the community itself. You guys, you're also creators, but you guys are not getting much spotlights. You're not being paid attention to, just like you mentioned, especially by the creators. Even though you guys have so much potential, and I find it that it's just so much going back into waste. And again, me, even with a small audience, I do all my best to get going through it, but even I have problems with my own algorithm, or my place in this thingy, because I'm not too shy to also say fuck you to the big companies too. But hey, I'll have to face that too. But yeah, um yeah, we gotta try to offer each other feedback and constructive one, and it's not easy in this mod section, because like I said before, I don't have the option to leave a review. I'm not being sent to the Age of Empires forums. I have to look up for it, and then I can definitely say effort. Well, I am seeing it as
Yeah,
well, because it's an effort, and I cannot entirely
yeah.
be sure if it's that exactly the one. I must be
This
sent
is
to the folder.
yeah. This
I
is
mean,
why I'd look for feedback after posting the mission in the official Age of Empires Discord,
mm-hmm,
on Reddit as well. I'd
mm-hmm,
get some comments from people. There is a comment function on the mod store page, but it's on the web page. Not
yeah,
I
well,
don't think it's in the game on the web page, but
yeah,
it's not. You can't. It's not very good.
yeah. I mean, that's still the thing. You can't see those. You're not being um guided there, and that's just really concerning, because you guys can definitely defy a genre too, because that is how Dota came, from from Warcraft 3. And like I said, those guys from Forgotten Empires, they're the creators from those games, and there's so many more that I could name, but I will be staying here talking here for years. But like I said, there's so much potential just going to waste, and that's just a pity. But I'm not gonna be like woefully and sorrowfully speaking about this constantly. I'd rather just move on, and me like, this is the point, this is what we need to tackle, get to the point, and just keep you guys afloat as much as I can. Uh,
Fair enough.
but then again, uh, I definitely agree with you, and um, I definitely find it very good in how you guys have been, um, you know, referring to each other, helping each other as much as possible. Um, that's why I'm going to move on now to the next question. What advice would you give to someone who just starts out in a custom campaign and scenario? Because this is also a big well, different opinions given. Some people say just jump in. The others say, first watch some videos and all that. What would you guys say? Do you guys even have someone who creates like videos in regards, for example, triggers? Because like you mentioned, you've listened to Ozzy's videos. Well, he is also someone who creates content. But I'm afraid Age of Empires 2 creates community in regards to triggers and how this and that. Or for example, in Age of Mythology, you have Yibikun, I think, or Ankosu, who also did that. No Toad also did some of those. So yeah, how is Age of Empires 4 faring in that regard, in your opinion, and what would you say?
Yeah, so advice to someone just starting out for
Mm-hmm. See,
creating mods for Age of Empires 4 specifically.
see, yeah.
Um, well, there's not too many options out there for learning. There's the official documentation, which, to be fair, got me started, but is pretty bare bones. You're going to need a lot more than that if you want to have, proper objectives and proper events and modules going on in your mission. Um, I think Marco has put out some modding advice and tips, but that was after I stopped, so I haven't read through it. But it looks pretty thorough. Um, so there is that. Of course, I'd recommend going to the Age of Empire, the AOE4 modding Discord, which hopefully you can find a link for somewhere. because there's lots of people there that will have been through everything, and you can search. Even though Discord's search function as well isn't very good, there's you can search through that and find whether someone has had the same question as you before, which is usually going to be the case, and so you can see the answers that have already come from that. The advice I gave people who were just starting out and were wondering what to do 2 years ago, I don't know if this is still a good idea, but there is a like what do I call it? Like a template mission. There's like a sample mod mission in Age of Empires 4 that people might not know about called
Mm-hmm.
Three Villages. When you create a new mod, um, a new scenario mod, um, it's one of the options that you can have. You can choose you can choose a blank map, or you can
Mm-hmm.
choose a map with the like map text that you design with like the map texture editor, or you can start with the three villages scenario. And so if you start with a three villages scenario, there'll already be a very basic mission in there where you start off as the English and you've got a town center and some villages, and you build up and it tells you, okay, attack this town and also attack the town on the other side of it with the stone walls.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of the very basics and how it gives you an example of the very basics and how they look. But even that, they sort of got wrong. Well, not badly wrong, but it's just to show the sort of not quite not quite enough effort put into it. The
Yeah.
last objective is to destroy the second town with the stone walls.
Mm-hmm.
So you destroy all the buildings inside, and the objective still hasn't completed. And you slowly begin to realize, oh, I need to destroy every section of stone wall to complete this objective to destroy this town, which is. But that's the only criticism I have for that. It is a good example for. Apart from that, it is a good example for starting out and just you toy around with that, you edit some things in that, and see what changes happen. But once again, still pretty bare bones. There's still a lot you'd have to learn that's not in that.
Yeah. No, I get that, and that's still a very good initiative, and how you've approached and what you would definitely advise to
Yeah,
for
and
those
of
who still.
course, and of course, I'm sure everybody says this, but when you're starting out, don't just start creating mods for the sake of becoming a mod creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Have a vision in mind. For me, it's definitely going to be this historical episode, which for me was the Battle of the Golden Spurs when I first started. Even though I never made a mod about it,
Yeah.
I was
Damn
trying this three.
it!
Yeah, well, you got Aussie's Age of Empires 2 version, didn't you?
I want more. No, joking. It's all good.
It would have been good. It would have been good, I'm sure. But it needed
Mm,
a tuning pack, and I didn't know how to do it at that point. Anyway,
mm,
um, yeah, definitely have some history, a historical episode, or some alternate history idea
mm.
in mind that you want to show through the medium of a fun mission in Age of Empires 4,
Yeah.
and the motivation to push through all the frustration and the difficulties and the technical challenges. The motivation will push you through that.
Yeah. No, okay, that's understandable. By all means, it is. There have been quite a few people who have also definitely said, try to make sure that you have some kind of an idea of what you want to create. Don't just jump in. But some people have also said, like I mentioned, jump in, try something, check it out, and from there on, try to learn, right? And reflect on those mistakes and just, optimize it or work on fixing it and all that and balancing it out. So yeah. On the other hand, like I said, Aussies, it's fine, and that's again Age of Empires 2. Who knows what Age of Empires 4 can do? And I don't mind a friendly contestation between one another. Not to like say mine is better and all that, but it's always good to see different perspectives. Just like in history, there's many professors and those who do research and come in with their testament or whatever you want to call, and hey, this happened with that battle here, and it's like, yeah, those bows were not that strong because
Hmm.
longbows are very weak compared to the curved bow, because the curved bow is very can take a lot more strength and pulling and all that compared to the curved bow, I mean the longbow. And that's just an opinion, or like, hey, no, in this battle so many people died, or it's very horrific and all that. Hey, I mean, it's a battle. What do you expect? Casualties are taken. That's just the nature of war. And the other one is goes like, no, it's not our nature for people. It's horrible. I mean, it's your human emotions working, but it's a battle. That's the thing. So yeah, I don't mind seeing other things as well. So I still want it. I'm joking.
It would definitely be interesting to like. I'd definitely be willing to install Age of Empires 2 to try out
Yeah.
uh, a mod mission if it's the AOE 2 version of any of the historical episodes that I've created. So if anybody's done like a Siege of Rhodes or uh,
Mm,
or a Siege of Vienna, but the earlier one, then it definitely would be very interesting to see what people did there.
now that I could check it out because I have a list, boy.
Oh right, okay.
um.
There's
Uh.
also
mm,
possible historical episodes also include Slaus and Caen as well.
I think. Well, slice. I don't think there is.
I will
Which
say
is.
I was going to make the Battle of Al Mansura. That was an idea. I had loads of other ideas that I never did. Al Mansura is
Mm-hmm.
in the Rise of the Sultans campaign,
Yeah.
and there was a chance that I made it before they did. And I would definitely have made some
Mm-hmm.
different decisions about how it worked. But it's a fun enough scenario.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: I don't see any Siege of Rhodes one in Age of Empires 2, but I see a Siege of Vienna, and this is made by one of my favorite creators in Age of Empires 2, Christoffel himself, and that
Okay,
one is
which one?
1683, so it's a bit
Yeah,
later one.
that's the different one. Everybody loves
Yeah.
that one because it's when the winged hussars arrive, you
Yeah,
know. But
exactly.
we
Yeah.
don't. That was I consider that a bit out of scope for the
Mm-hmm.
historical period that Age of Empires 4 is trying to represent. And I still don't think we have winged hussars in Age of Empires 4. So and I thought that the earlier siege was worth bringing to life as well. It was exciting. It had, as far as I remember, it had exciting things going on. Maybe it didn't have a devastating final cavalry charge from an unlikely ally, but it was uh, it was exciting enough for me to make that my first mod with the skills that I picked up.
Yeah. Well, there's also then this one. Well, not in Age of Empires 2, but there's a different game called Ancestors Legacy. Not sure if you ever know to it. Similar to the game is similar in playstyle to Company of Heroes 2. And
Oh,
in this way, though, you fight against as the defenders force, where you also like use knights and all that. You actually destroy the attackers as well. So this one is a bit like with Rudolph the First, who you're playing as, and then you fight against the invaders actually, or so if I'm right. But there's this one, and so far, which other ones did we mention? The Siege of Creta. I don't think we do have it, but we have in Age of Empires 2 the Willem van Oranje campaign, for example. That one. Uh,
William of Orange.
yeah, William van Orange. Hmm.
Uh, do
Wilhelm.
I cover? No, that's something Marco covers, isn't it?
Uh,
Is that 1600s?
around that year, I think it's also like around. Let me quickly check.
Yeah. No,
Voranje.
once again, the Breda stuff it isn't mine.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we have silenced Dutch Republic, Siege of Leiden, Geuzen, Amsterdam, and St. Quentin's Past. These kind of missions, and then the Silent of the Past. Okay, well, these are the ones that I haven't, but these are like very old videos as well. It's like way back. It was like in 3 years ago.
Oh,
I mean, and in this one, you definitely was like trying to hold at a stain in Antwerpen. So it's also working in Antwerpen where you fight like the Spanish and
hmm.
hold it with the
I
Union of
think I remember that
Utrecht.
being mentioned. That's mentioned in Shogun, in
Yeah,
the James Clavell book, not the
yeah,
series, I don't think, but That's mentioned in the book. Yeah, so I may well have considered that had I read the book before then.
Yeah, but fair warning, it is made by Shimakaze, also known at I think it was Cat Scientist or Kitty. His campaigns can be quite a challenge in regards of numerous of AI troops. So be
Hmm.
prepared that it can be quite a grind even for moderate difficulty because I did it so, and it can be quite long to play through because I finished it in 54 minutes and that's like only mission 6. But yeah, I have like different ones and some of them took like an hour or hour and 30 minutes. For example, the Siege of Leiden took like an hour and 30 minutes and all. So yeah, but that's what we also have in regards to Dutch things, and then you of course do Battle of the Golden Spurs, made uh, by
Aussie.
Ozzy himself. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and that one
I
is
think I might give that one a try, and see see what
I
I think of his interpretation.
I highly recommend it. I think it is good. It is quite nice, and it's like a scenario that feels like very classic. Like it's not too challenging. It is simply you build your bases, you try to stop, you defend some flags over here against Godfrey of Brabant and Constable Clement and
Hmm.
Robert of Artois. Well, you also try to beat the French garrison and help Kortrijk, for example, and it is just amazing. But you do play as the Burgundians because you don't really have a Dutch
Yes.
civilization, which is sad because
Well,
fuck you,
I mean,
developers.
they're Flemish, right? I mean, the Dutch, the Flemish specifically don't like the people from Holland, right?
I
At the
know, and
time,
we don't like them
uh,
as well.
so you can't claim the Flemish, I'm
I
afraid.
don't care. Come here, you belong to us. I'm joking. No, I mean
I
it's
did love those units. I that was probably my favorite mechanic in Age of Empires 2 when we
mm,
played it, even though it's pretty bad. Just turning everybody into Flemish militia is such a meme. I love them so much.
yeah. I mean
I
that's because the
I
Burgundians ruled quite over the area as well, right? And the Dutch
I'm
was
sure, yeah.
more the Dutch were far more independent, or compared to there. They're like literally were conquered and all that. And sometimes they were a state as a tributary or vassalized state compared to the Dutch because we were far more rebellious than them. We were
Mhm.
more like a Nordic country compared to them, right? We have a little
I
bit of
see.
that kind of bloodline or Germanic bloodline, right? Compared to the Flemish. The Flemish are far more, how should I say, French-like. So yeah,
Yeah,
no
no,
offense.
they were a very wealthy like client of the French king, I think,
Yeah,
which is why they're rebelling, which is why the Golden Spurs happened.
yeah, true, true, and yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I will definitely advise you to check it out as well. And they used
Mhm.
to be on the mid page back on the EU Age of Empires Heaven forums. You had the a mod that did allow you to play like Flemish and all that.
Oh,
Um,
that's fun.
it was what do you call it? You had the what freaking hell was I'm trying to remember this. You were able to also even play Dutch as well. There's like different voice techniques. So I think it was like the Age of not the Kings, but Age of not Conquest as well, but something I forgot it. But you can definitely look it out as well. But
Yeah,
it's definitely fun. And I definitely still say just check out any of their creations, even from Christopher's with his Siege of Vienna as well. Even if it's Lake Period one, is definitely fun, or any even the cast that the Alexander campaigns as well. They're definitely fun. They will definitely make you feel very good and go for it.
I see.
Overall, try it out. But yeah,
Sorry to ask, but can we take a 5 minute break?
sure, sure, of course, go for it, go for
Sorry,
it.
I've got to do a bit of editing, but yeah, be
No,
back in a
go for
minute.
it. Sure, of course, go for it. But yeah, that is definitely no problem at all. But these kind of campaigns are definitely are very good for you guys to check out as well overall. And as we are also taking a quick break, I'm also quickly gonna try to look what else I could recommend to our friend Foxplot over here because I don't remember all of the campaigns that I've been playing through within regards even to Siege of Breda. There's not much of those. And if I'm gonna look to the Age of Empires 2 list, I mostly have like Taizong, whatever, Golden Horde, Rise of Tamerlane, Celine the Grim, Stefan Dusson, Miri Boja, Acadias, Philip II of France, Reinald of Dringnot, Maris of the Goodbud Dynasty, Teutonic Order, Basil II, Atahualpa. I'm just literally trying to find any kind of remark to more Dutchness, but again, there's just not much, and that's just really a pity because, like I said, it would be very cool to have that. But I could also recommend, for example, one of the old Swiss Confederacy campaign too. It's also very good, right? Hmm. Yeah. It's different. Gonzalo Guerrero. Well, we're also trying to do that new one there right now. Lei Thong Thong, Rana Sangha. No, I don't have any other there. Oh well. Let me see. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome, Mac. Yeah, no, I
Hello.
mean, welcome. Yeah, I mean, the only one that I could definitely recommend you aside from the Gold Battle of Golden Spears is just the Willem van Oranje campaign made by that scientist and all. Yeah, that's the only one that we sadly have. And like I said,
Okay.
it's just very minimum that we have over here, which is really
You don't
frustrating.
think the William of Orange stuff is a bit out of scope for Age of Empires 2's time period?
No, I don't think so because I think it still touches some rare content over there at times, even if we were like quite vassal states or like still conflicted even between England and France and even Spain. I still think it's very good. But then again, it would still also be better to have it in the Age of Empires 4 or even 3. But the thing is, there's no one who is willing to take up that mantle or has.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just really saddening and frustrating, honestly, because I definitely want to play through that and have like a little bit of glorious times going on over here. I did in Age of Empires 3. There is one campaign though. Which one was it? Let me quickly check. Siege of Hulst. There we go. Made by Flip from the 61X. That's quite a long one. You also have the Star Fort with Bergen op Zoom, which was also played out in the 1747. Siege of Hulst is definitely a nice one. I did enjoy it. Bergen op Zoom, well, it was very time consuming, but it's still one that you could definitely play through and have fun with. Further else, which ones did we had more? I think the Franco-Dutch War between 1672 and 1678. Even though you don't really play as the Dutch or any French, you play literally as the Swedes because the Swedes were also in this battle. So yeah, but that is also
Oh,
very interesting that I
interesting.
would recommend. But that's just Age of Empires 3 content compared to 2,
Okay.
really.
Yeah. I have played Age of Empires 3, just not very
Mm,
much because none of my friends play it.
yeah, I mean it's fun to try it out for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, let's move on to another question now. These are the only ones I could refer, and I could definitely still refer you to definitely more as well, but just not ones that are Dutch, like I said, which is a really sad thing. We also do have an old Swiss Confederacy, for example, campaign too, which is also really nice.
Swiss
Or what?
Confederacy.
Yes, that's also a nice
Oh,
history part that you can do
I'm not familiar with
because
that.
no, okay. Well, there's a lot, and then you have like a lot of campaigns through all over the world, from Asia to Persia, from Persia to you know, the Anatolia, and then you go to Europe and all, and that's like very much and like like I said, I've played through more than 140 campaigns in Age of Empires 2, so I could send
Wow.
you a list, and when you check it out, you're gonna see like names like, I might know this guy, or I don't know that guy, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. But I'll send you that list later. Um, when you design a scenario or a campaign, what comes first for you, gameplay wise? Challenge, storytelling, historical accuracy, or fun? And why?
Yes, I'm glad I haven't jumped the gun on this one yet.
Hmm.
So yeah, a scenario is always based on a historical episode,
Mm-hmm.
um, even if it's sort of a historical episode that never happened, but might have happened. You know, is a historically authentic thing to happen. Historical authenticity is what I strive for instead
Mm-hmm.
of historical accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of uh, going for making a scenario exactly go exactly how it happened, I want to give players choice. I want to make it as fun as possible, but I'm not going to give the the defenders of Vienna war elephants to defend their city. It has to be historically authentic. I'm going to give them, arquebuses and pikes and all this stuff. And I might stretch it. They might have some like uh, French mercenaries or something if there's some mention of them in the sources. But yeah, authenticity is what I try to keep going. But the main onus is definitely on creating something that's fun and challenging and decent quality, that gives players choices. And I don't know if I always succeed with this, but I want the objectives that the player has and the moves that the AI players make to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want an army just moving across the map for no reason or doing something that specifically looks stupid. There's no logical reason for them to do that kind of thing. That's sort of what I strive for, but it's quite a hard thing to do within the constraints of an RTS. If you're defending Vienna and the countryside is overrun with the Ottoman army. If they were you know, playing smartly, if they were playing logically, of course, they all of their troops would just descend on your the party that you have sallying out as soon as it comes out. So we can't have them be so logical that they'd just crush you immediately. But yeah, so I try to make sure that things are logical, that there's more than one way to complete a scenario, more or less. I mean, blockade at Salerno and things, and some things like that, are fairly one-dimensional. Defend the gates. That I wasn't making that one just to be complicated or deep. It was just to showcase a few custom units, and to try and inspire more people to mod with a basic scenario, and historical authenticity. That's that's what I would sort of strive for. And like I've said before, trying to make the map look aesthetically pleasing is not my
Mm-hmm.
forte. I yeah, but the other mod creators, Marco, Ping, and someone called Mother, he made the Siege of Constantinople,
Mm-hmm.
and that is another one that just looks stunning. Just so much effort went into the aesthetics there, and I do not have the patience for that. So yeah, not my priority. It's the same in Minecraft. I like to make buildings and things that might look good from the outside, but I have friends who will terraform the entire landscape to make something look perfect, and I don't have the patience for that. So yeah, I think those are the sort of core tenets of what I would go for.
Okay, no, That's a very good initiative and very strong opinions on how you approach with creating some campaigns and scenarios. Because, like you said, some people prefer to be very historically accurate. The other ones prefer to be very, fun focused. The other focus on making very challenging and all that. But you seem to be quite uh, balanced, in my opinion. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
yeah. Okay. Well, this is also something that I think it was Marco also who mentioned it. How everyone was also working with, and it's just also as you point out how NTL and Mother or Marco also were working as well, and it's also very fun to see actually. Um, but yeah, what tools, triggers, or editor features do you rely on most, and which ones do you wish were improved?
Uh, okay. This one I might not have a
Yeah.
very good answer for because it's been 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you rely on most? You've got to use a bit of everything. Um, relying on most, I would say for all but the last two scenarios I made, having AI troops move across the map, I was just giving them attack move orders, and
Mm-hmm.
it's attack move like a player would make their things move, which um, isn't the most intelligent behavior for the AI to display. I mean, it's all scripted. It's all I tell it what to do. There's no skirmish AI behind it. Um, so the alternative that took a while to figure out was using modules, specifically the roving army module, um, which is sort of the same thing. You can set a patrol path for a group of soldiers, and sort of they'll sort of attack move along that patrol path and be a bit more intelligent about how they attack. Sometimes you'll see some skirmishing from archers. You'll see better prioritization. They'll prioritize higher value units and things like that. And they'll attack walls, which they won't with an attack move, as you probably know if you've ever tried to attack move a palisade wall in skirmish. They'll only attack the gates in that case. Whereas if the AI in a roving army can't get to a location because of a palisade wall, they'll burn it down to get there, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish I'd made more use of that sooner. Also, a module that was easier to figure out to begin with was the villager life module. That's what allows villagers to just be walking around town like they're up to their daily business. That wasn't behavior that was scripted by me. Them walking randomly around. That is a module that was already in the game that's used in campaigns. It's very good for creating places that look like they're lived in by these villagers, even if they're not doing anything productive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the modules, they're not the most intuitive things, and sometimes the devs will just change the code behind them or the input for them without telling you, and that'll break your scenario. And I think that's what happened with Siege of Vienna. That's why I had to
Mm-hmm.
re-upload it. And I thought that was what happened with NTL's scenario as well, but maybe that's something different. But yeah, so once you get going with the modding, give these modules a try because they bring the scenarios to the next level.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's true. I honestly think the same with you as well, especially in regards with NTLs as well. And these are very vital. How should I say? Uh, Aspects that you should definitely try out for sure. And yeah, your perspectives
Mm.
definitely was an eye opener for sure too. Uh, so I think then, of course.
Yeah, yeah, it's that's not going to make any sense to anybody that hasn't tried to start modding. But like I say,
Mm,
there's a lot of frustrating elements to it, and you sort of have to
mm-hmm,
do a bit of everything uh, to um, use all the different tools to make a decent looking map, have the AI do basic moves, build a city, build a wall around it. Sorry, build a village, build a wall around it, um, place sheep and trees across the map. There's a lot of things you have to get used to, but from what I remember. I just thought I'd draw attention to something that can bring things to the next level.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. Okay. Well, we'll move on now to the next question because this is also a very interesting one, by the way. Has player feedback ever made you rethink or redesign a scenario, and can you share us an example?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, maybe not reshape an entire scenario, but edits here and there based on feedback. But whether I can remember concrete examples, uh, there were definitely a few times where it happened. When I re-uploaded Siege of Vienna, I did make a few small quality of life changes based on
Mm-hmm.
the couple of playthroughs I'd seen people do of it and some of the feedback I got. Like you get pursued by cavalry once you cause enough trouble. I originally didn't. Uh, well, yeah, I think originally I didn't tell the player that they were being pursued by cavalry, and then suddenly your handgunners are just being set upon by Sipahi out of the blue, and even though you thought you were in a safe space where they couldn't see you, um, it still doesn't make sense for them to see you like that in a stealth forest anyway. So that's another place where the sort of logical nature of my scenarios kind of fail. But like I say, it was early days then. That was my first mod. That's yeah, that's and I wasn't willing to put loads and loads of work in because I wanted to work on other things.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that.
yeah, there were lots of incidents like that. I think where I got a little bit of feedback and made changes um,
Mm-hmm.
to allow for that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's definitely all right, and I definitely can agree with that. Um, I'll move on to the next. How should I say question as well for sure. Um, how do you approach balancing the difficulties so a custom campaign and our scenario is challenging, but still focus on the fun aspect for a wider audience? That's another good question for you.
Yes, and when we've talked about a bit already.
Yeah, true.
Um, so as I say, I made these scenarios with the hope, sort of expecting people to play them if they had played all the vanilla campaigns and wanted more of that. I didn't. I didn't make them for people that were just getting into the game, and indeed, I saw one of my buddies who was willing to give Siege of Vienna a go. Get quite annoyed at the scenario, and that made sense because I didn't make the scenario for him, for someone who had played barely 2 hours of the game. Um, I made it for people who liked the game, liked the campaigns, and wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with that being said, as I say, I put in difficulty presets so that it was more accessible for a wider audience, for people who wanted it to just keep it casual, or people who wanted more of a challenge, more pressure, to be put on their toes. Like you, you struggled with the defense in Multan, and yet uh, I had someone who managed to beat every wave and was just camping the Mongol waves as they came in. So it's really difficult to uh, predict how well a player is going to do, especially when you have perfect knowledge of what's going in the scenario already.
Mm-hmm.
I would try and handicap myself when I was testing the scenarios um, in various ways. Maybe I'd give myself less trade, or maybe I would limit the number of production buildings I had. A few sort of arbitrary things like that to handicap myself and my advantages so that I was more on the level of someone who was playing it for the first time. But yeah, as I say, it's difficult, and I was very dependent on feedback. And as I say, I didn't get all that much feedback, so it was difficult. But I think the difficulty presets are I'm very proud of them, and I hope that covers most of the people that will try the scenarios.
Yeah, I think it does, and it's obviously very important to have a little bit of feedback. I think you did touch it well, but again, that's my opinion again. Um, but yeah, it's just yeah, we cannot really say too much about this regard. Well, I cannot say too much in that regard again because I don't speak for everyone. But then again, I think it was pretty a good approach on how you've handled this situation for sure. Um, how do you think you've been doing within Age of Empires 4 content creator community, and what would you tell your younger self if you had the chance?
Sorry, the first part of that question again.
How do you think you've been doing within the Age of Empires 4 content creator community, and what would you tell your younger self?
How do I think I've been doing? Well,
Mm-hmm.
while I was modding, I was helping people out.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to help them as much as I could with help with scripting, telling them yes, this is possible, this is how you do it, or saying no, this isn't possible, and the dev confirmed it. Um, so I was there collaborating with everyone, and trying to help where I could. I haven't done that for a long time, once again, because I'm super rusty and I'm not going to be much help anymore, especially with how much things have changed since then. Um, so yeah, I'm still in the modding community, but only in name, really. I get mentioned every now and then, but I can't really help with things anymore. Um, what was the second half of the question again? Oh,
What
what
would
would
you
I say
tell
to
your
my
younger
younger
self?
self? um, Again, I'm not sure I would say anything. The problem solving of learning how to use the content editor in the first place, I found it was difficult, but it was very fulfilling. Um, Obviously, I'd want to tell myself how to do certain things so that I wouldn't spend you know hours and hours trying to figure certain things out. But I just I committed to this activity, which I enjoyed a lot, and I made projects that I'm to this day very proud of. So, as vain as it is to say, I'm not sure I'd give myself any notes.
Yeah. No.
Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm quite proud of what I did, and I think I stopped when I had to.
Yeah.
Um, and while I wish I could come back,
Mm.
yeah, it's probably not happening. Maybe I would tell my younger self not to promise people 5 missions in that England campaign, uh, having only put out
Yeah.
2 missions and then leaving the rest as question marks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, they
I,
are
I,
pretty
yeah,
much
sorry, go ahead.
question mark. They're pretty much question marks either way. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I can go into what those missions were going to be if you wanted, but I don't know if that's within the scope of this question.
Then the question: are you certain you're not gonna do those three?
Um,
Very
yeah,
certain.
I,
Like,
I
I want to
well,
know because if
it,
not, I
dep-
wouldn't mind hearing. But if you will, then I don't want to hear it.
I mean, you could probably guess if you had and if you knew what happened in the sort of first few
Yeah,
years of the Hundred Years' War. But
I can
I
guess,
don't think
but
it's likely that I'm going to create them at this stage for various reasons.
I mean,
So
I can.
do you want to hear them?
Uh, that, um.
You don't have to. Yeah, like I say, I don't think I'm going to create them. Um,
Okay. Well, if you're
but
not gonna create
I
them,
had
name them.
I had such plans that
Yeah,
they were going to be something.
name them. Name them. Let me hear it.
Okay, well, so the third mission was going to be the Battle of Cressy. It was pretty
Mm-hmm.
obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Happens right after the Siege of Caen. The Siege of Caen wasn't that significant if you look at history. It's just sort of sacking a place that, as far as I know, anyway, it was just sort of sacking a place that wasn't very well defended, and that was the entire point. It was chevauché. You're raiding and pillaging an undefended part of the country and then moving on before the enemy can react. So that was just half of the course for the Hundred Years' War. But they are pursued towards Flanders, where they turn and fight at Cressy. And what I was going to do was have sort of they need to find a bridge across. I can't remember which river it is, but to get towards Flanders, they need to find a bridge, a crossing, and they eventually do. So part of the mission was going to be a sort of scout mission where you'd sort of stealth your way through stealth forests and French checkpoints and find a crossing. And once you did find a crossing, you'd get control of the entire army, and you'd be protecting your baggage train, like escorting it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's laden down with all this plunder, as well as field cannons, which are actually used in Cressy. So you're escorting these field cannons, which would not be mission critical, but the baggage train would be mission critical, just in as the form of an objective. And I know escort missions are not the favorite objective
True,
in
true.
any video game, but I thought I'd give it a try. I thought I'd experiment. Always trying to experiment. That's something I
Yeah,
would suggest people do. Always, take chances on things and see
yeah.
how you do. And then you'd once you survived all the French ambushes and stuff, you'd get to the northern half of the map where you'd turn and fight at this place, Cressy, and all the while you'd see this massive French army slowly pushing up from the south of the map, and that's what you'd be preparing to face when you were there. And hopefully it would look somewhat like how the actual Battle of Cressy went. Pretty standard English stuff, longbowmen on both wings of this hill, and men at arms and those cannons we talked about in the middle, which were actually there, and you'd be fighting these Genoese crossbowmen who were coming at you, but their bowstrings are wet because there's been rain, and I even made some lightning in the
Mm-hmm.
game. I couldn't get thunder to work, but I could make like some pretty convincing lightning effect in the game, and that was going to signify that there's a storm going on at the moment. The longbowmen have kept their drawstrings oiled and covered, which they did, and the Genoese longbowmen have left their Pavis shields in their own baggage train, and they haven't protected their bowstrings, so they're at a severe disadvantage to the longbows. And the cavalry were going to be slowed by the mud up the hill as well. So those were the advantages that were going to give you the ability to win that battle against overwhelming odds. But that was going to be Cressy more or less, and I didn't know if it was going to be any good or not. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we're gonna see that. But after that was going to be the siege of Calais, but it was going to
Mm-hmm.
be more than that. It was going to be you start off besieging Calais, um, and this isn't a mission where you really attack Calais. You're just maintaining the siege, so you're stopping them from sallying out and breaking through, and you're stopping them from sallying out and attacking your workers and things like that. Pretty boring on the surface of it. It would be winter, everything would be covered in snow. There's the nice winter biome that they gave us one Christmas, which was nice, and it stayed in the game even after the season ended. So I was looking forward to using that. But while that was happening, there was also going to be this skirmish that happened in Brittany, going on another corner of the map, which you couldn't access, but you'd have to balance these two things at the same time. And as well as that going on, what happened within the same year, while Edward III was besieging Calais, is the Scots attack the north of England, and you get the Battle of Neville's Cross happening. So you'd have to form this resistance in the north of England, in the north of the map, from what you had there, even though the main army was in France and Flanders. So it was going to be balancing a lot of different things. Once again, I had no idea whether it was going to work. It was just going to be some experimentation. But yeah, I drew up some pretty extensive notes on it. And then the last mission was going to be Poitiers, which was
Okay.
was another big battle. Probably not a surprise.
Yeah.
Um, it's sort of Edward III wasn't in this battle, but his son, Black Prince was, I
Yeah,
think. Maybe
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wrong there.
yeah.
But
No.
I think it was his sort of last hurrah, maybe, before things started to go downhill for the English in the 14th century. Um, but that one, I have to admit, I didn't plan out so much. So I didn't. I can't remember exactly what I was thinking about doing there. But yeah, that was the general idea. And I was also thinking about doing like a bonus mission. Again, it was just going to be a mad experiment. I didn't know how it was going to work, but it was going to be, well, if you know Poitiers, then you know right after Poitiers, uh, the Black Plague hits. Or is it the bubonic plague? I get them mixed up. Anyway, um, and things just kind of stopped for a while because of the. Actually, it might have been before Poitiers that happened. Um, and I was thinking about having a mission where you're playing as the sort of the like nobility in Ragusa, which is in Croatia. It's Dubrovnik today, and you'd be balancing various things, trying to stop people from getting infected. If infected people got too close to people that weren't infected, then they would infect them, and you'd have to be fighting off raiders and deciding whether to accept in things like that. Again, that one I never came close to developing that, but that would have been a bonus idea to try and help people understand what was going on, why there was this break in the Hundred Years' War.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, sorry, I really wanted to go on a tirade
Hey, it's okay. By all
about these
means.
plans,
No,
and
no. Hey.
I had so many more missions that I was planning to do, and one mission which I 80% one extra mission which I sort of 80% completed, but never was quite happy with it, with the sort of objective in it, which, if I can say briefly, was going to be um, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, yeah. I do. I do. But
So
never
after
played
they
it.
added
Yeah.
they added the Japanese to the game, I thought I need to see a Japanese Mongol showdown.
Yeah.
So I was going to do a sort of beach defense thing, as it's sort of how the intro of Tsushima goes, but it was going to be uh, what I can't remember what the place was called, but their sort of second invasion of Japan. So not the one displayed in Ghost of Tsushima, but the one after that, where they actually make it to mainland Japan, try to attack there, and then get washed away by the kamikaze, the divine winds. So you'd have to hold out until the weather saved you. But of course, the player doesn't know that it's going to save them. So so yeah, those are the things that I regret most not creating.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really saddening, honestly. Too bad. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's all good. Um. How do you see Age of Empires 4's future?
Yeah, like I think I might have said, from a modding perspective quite bleak. I don't think they've given it that much attention, and I don't think they plan to. We've been saying the same stuff to them for years, or at least the others have, but I don't think it's really going to be acknowledged in a way that will satisfy, which I think is probably quite normal for video games. But Age of Empires 4 modding is the only one I know. As for the rest of it, though, I'm not playing it so much at the moment, but I liked the Sultan's Ascent DLC. I liked playing as the Templars, the Knights Templar in that. They're probably my favorite faction now. And these factions that they keep bringing in, yes, they're variant civilizations, but I think they're unique enough. And they bring in new cosmetics for these things. They're not just like the same thing, but with some different stats. So I like the sort of DLC model they've gone for. They've been a bit inconsistent with how they've been doing the campaigns, which you probably already know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that I just want to see more campaigns, so I'm very happy that this new DLC brought in a Chinese campaign or maybe a Qin Dynasty campaign. I don't know what the new civs are, but I was thinking about. I did plan out a bit of a Chinese campaign myself, but that never made it close to development either. I won't bore you with the details of that one though.
No, I mean, I'm fine. I definitely like to hearing everyone's opinions, of course, and I'm sure everyone would love to do that as well. But the new DLC only offers like one new civilization, variety of civilization, really. If
Oh,
even if they say that, and
as opposed to 4 from the previous one.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is far fewer, just 4 new maps and 2 new biomes, and just a bit more multiplayer and skirmish things, and like 3 different units, and that's just really it. It's not too much, and yeah, 1 new campaign. Many people didn't really like it, um, and I can definitely see it why, especially since compared to what they offered in the previous DLCs, it's far more, and right now it has become very less. And when I'm gonna read through the DLCs, I mean the reviews right away, right now, it's variety civilization again. It's okay, but it's just a little bit of copy pasting, really. It's sloppy work. That's just to be flat out say, right? But at the same time, it is still offering something. But how, that's what the community is rather concerned and saddened about. And now it also confirms that it's just Age of Empires starting to get literally a bit cut out over here. And that's just really saddening. But there's still high hopes, especially since, like I said, the tournaments and all that, they're still going on. But for
Mhm.
now, everyone is a little bit anxious. That's what I can see. And from your perspective, well, I agree too. It's still good, but yeah, I would have still preferred entirely new civilizations. Really, I don't want them to be
Yeah.
knocked out to be
I,
like
I mainly
broken.
want to. I mainly want them to for the new music because
Yeah,
only
that too.
unique
That too.
civilizations get new music, but
True.
they haven't introduced any new music since the
Yeah.
Byzantines, which is a shame because I love the music so much.
Yeah.
I want to make a tier list out of the combat music
Yeah.
because I just feel so strongly about each specific track.
True, they do. And like again, I think like in every gaming company, the music company, the art company does such a good job,
Hmm.
and that is just what it carries most because it's just so nice. Sometimes the gameplay carries as well a lot how the game works, but lately that is a matter of a clashing opinion. um okay. If you could instantly change one feature of Age of Empires 4 scenario editor, what would it be?
Change one feature.
Mm,
The main thing that put me off, aside from time commitments, when I stopped was the fact that the content editor suddenly was crashing quite frequently, and that lost progress, the amount of time it takes to start, uh, not good, very bad. Stop crashing. That's that would be the main thing I want. Apparently, it's a bit better now, but still crashes. So it looked like some work had gone into it at least. Um, Aside from that, I don't know if they could make it any more straightforward. But walls, placing walls, and
mhm.
interacting and having AI interact with walls uh, is very finicky and not straightforward. Um, so it would be nice to see if that could be made easier, but I don't know if that's possible within the constraints of the engine. Um, yeah, that's one of the most finicky things I can remember.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, those are still valid points as well, honestly. Well, in my opinion, again. But okay. Are you currently working on any campaign or scenario and are willing to share some juicy information about it, or would you rather keep it to yourself for now as you keep on cooking?
Yeah, I think you know the answer to this one.
Yeah, I know.
I've shared with you what I had cooking.
Yeah,
Uh, Unfortunately, it's not going to see the light of day.
yeah. Ah! No, joking. Moving on to the next question, no problem. Is there something you'd like to say to the community?
Uh, oh, Once again, I'm 2 years out of it now. I'm a bit out of touch with the community. Um, Something I'd like to say to the community. Um,
Screw you guys! Get out here now, joking.
uh, I, hmm,
We
yeah,
miss you guys.
I wish,
Blah, blah.
yeah, I wish more people would try out making
Mm,
mod missions.
yeah.
I've thought that all along. Um, I wish people would give it a try, but I know it has a high bar to entry. Um, Definitely
Mm,
recommend those people that know how to code and like history. Uh, if this is a good medium for it, give it a go with your favorite historical episode. Um, but yeah, aside from that, I think I'm a bit too out of touch. Just yeah, enjoy playing the game. And yeah, I would say be patient with the devs, but
mm.
I think people are patient enough.
Yeah, true. I agree. Uh, Here's a good question. Is there a way people can contact you like other content creators or those in the community who have played your campaign and want to offer you thoughts, opinions with some constructive feedback, perhaps? For example, Discord, email, or Steam.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. At me in the official Age of Empires. Am I still in that? Oh crumbs! I might not still be in the official Age of Empires Discord. Well, I'm in the Age of Empires 4 modding Discord, so
Hmm,
uh, if you can find the link for that somewhere, maybe I can provide you the link and you can put it in the description for the video.
sure.
Um, but
I'll
yeah,
join
you
it
can
too.
find me in there, and yeah, absolutely, and at me, and give me feedback. I definitely love to hear it. I don't think I can apply any more of it to my scenarios anymore, because I don't have the time or patience for the content creator. But I do, as you can probably tell from this interview, I do love talking about it.
No, that's okay and agreeable. Um, if someone considered playing one of the custom campaign scenarios in AoE 4, which one should it be and why? It can be your own creation or someone else, no matter. Which one would you?
Or just if someone should try, if they
Yeah,
were to try anyone, which one should it be?
yeah, yeah. So imagine I'm a new person. I said I've finished all the original campaigns, but I want to try a custom campaign. Which one should I jump into? Which
Hmm.
one do you think you should definitely try out first, or right away? Could be your
Uh,
own or someone else.
I'd probably.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Hard
I,
questions, eh?
I, I, any of them. They're all really good examples of what you can do with the mod tools. But if you're looking for more of the campaign and what the campaign offers, but a little bit different, um, then I'd probably say Rhodes, the Siege of Rhodes. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I toot my own horn, I think it's the most campaign-like one uh, in terms of gameplay, objectives, and aesthetics. Um, and it lets you play campaign mission as the Ottomans. And I'd always try and prioritize those factions that didn't have a campaign yet. That's why I did the Holy Roman Empire, the Delhi Sultanate, the Ottomans,
Mm-hmm.
sort of Norman tuning pack. Um, and then, of course, I made 2 English missions, which nobody asked for because everybody's seen enough English longbowmen already for their entire life.
I
But
do.
yeah, so if you wanted to try out a campaign mission with a different civilization to the other campaign missions, then yeah, do so. Hopefully, there's a mod mission for your favorite civilization, unless it's the Japanese or the Chinese or the Knights Templar or any of the newer ones. Uh, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, no, I think that's a cool thing about the mod missions. Lets you play a campaign as a faction that doesn't already have a campaign.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll move to the next question. If someone, no, roughly how much time does it take you to create a full scenario or campaign from idea to release?
Excellent question.
Mm-hmm.
So the Siege of Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, no, the Siege of Vienna, the very first scenario when I was sort of mad into figuring out all these different things. I I was doing my masters at the time, and I had quite a lot of free time, I have to admit, and I spent the vast majority of that for 2.5 weeks. That's how long it took to make the Siege of Vienna. And then after that, there were a couple of tweaks here and there, but that was 2.5 weeks. But I basically call it no lifing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd still go to lectures and I still went to the gym and I went to a pub quiz, but apart from that, I was sleeping and creating this mod just because I was so into it. And I don't regret the time I spent on it. Um, but if you're when I was doing it a bit more of a healthy way, as in I still had the same amount of free time, but I wasn't filling so much of it with the mod creation. Um, so Siege of Rhodes, for instance, I made like that. Uh, that took a month. But if
Mm-hmm.
you had a 9 to 5 job, then you're not going to have as much free time as I had during that period. And if you've got a girlfriend, family, and kids, um, good luck. Uh,
Mm.
it's gonna take it's gonna take several months to make a mission that will take a player, 45 minutes to play.
Yeah, no,
That
that's true.
that's another high bar for entry, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a sad reality, especially when you want to have like a job and family and all that to take care of. It's definitely gonna be taxing you a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
People have done it, but it has taken a long time.
yeah. Oh, that's okay. Moving on to the next question. What keeps you motivated to keep these creations, especially during long or difficult projects?
What keeps me motivated? Just, well, the problem solving of it, as I say, as a coder, that's
Mm-hmm.
very fulfilling when you want to do this thing but don't know how to do this thing. So you learn and you fail and you fix it and you manage to do it. That's a very satisfying process, which I went through multiple times. Um, and well, just the hope that the image you have in your head of what it's going to look like um, is, yeah, that motivates everybody who's ever worked on a project with enthusiasm. Um, and I might be a bit of a maniac for saying this, but you need to test out. You're constantly changing things in your scenario or adding things and then testing it. And like I say, that's a very slow process. Published mod, open the game, wait for it to open the skirmish, open the mod map in that, and hit play, wait for it to load, and play it. I enjoyed the testing. Like I might
Mm-hmm.
have played the Siege of Rhodes. I might have play tested it. Um, close to 100 times. Uh, maybe more than that, and it was still it was enjoyable for most of that. Like you can, you add a new bit and you play through it, and you think, oh wow, that really works. That really sort of immerses me, or that's a pretty epic thing to see, or this is a fun little encounter, and or the AI looks quite intelligent there. I'm proud of what I did there. So yeah, there was a lot of fulfillment, even though it was very difficult and repetitive. I felt very fulfilled, but I'm not sure other people would have the same reaction to that process.
Yeah. Okay, that's understandable. Um, and I would say that's definitely a big level of dedication for sure.
Yeah.
um. Yeah. Have you ever knowingly bent or ignored history to make a scenario more fun? Where do you draw the line?
Hmm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I need to remember the exact happenings in the historical sources to be able to answer this. The the blockade at Salerno probably didn't happen. There is an account of it. I'm not sure it's backed up by anything, and apart from Prince Guaimar, uh, being there at that time. Everything else is sort of made up about it. There is, it's definitely a historically authentic thing for these pirates to come and hold these towns in Italy to ransom. That's very well established. Insert some Normans who've just come back from the Holy Land in there, and you've got a an interesting little episode. So that it's there is a source that gives precedent for that, but I just took that and said, okay, that's what I'm going to do, even though it might not be the truth, because I thought it would be fun, and that's how I think it should be. It should be fun before entirely historically accurate. But like I say, I still want the historical authenticity to be there. Likewise um, with the Defense of Multan. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it talks about Mongols, the Chagatai Khanate army
Mm-hmm.
raiding and pillaging on their way back as they retreat, but it doesn't give, as far as I know, there's no account of resistance like you see in the mission. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would try and um, manufacture this scenario that would be a historically authentic thing to happen, and
Mm-hmm.
um, but only really makes sense through the scope of an RTS game. There's a couple of Easter eggs I put into places, nothing big, but the one I remember is there was that one event that happened where they would put map monsters on there. So there was like the old man of the woods, and if one of your villagers found him in a skirmish, then they would get like 100% extra efficiency. And there was also like a water monster that they added to the game. That I did put that in the corner in the blockade at Salerno. Um, did you did you notice it? I don't know if it's been removed from the game, but uh, just little fun things like that that didn't make any difference, but were just fun additions.
Yeah, no, I agree with you as well there. So,
And I'm open to criticism from people who think I have misinterpreted history. I'm not a student of history. Um, I
mm,
just enjoy reading about it and picturing myself and picturing it and immersing myself in it as much as
yeah,
I can.
I mean, hey, it's also fine to try to interpret it as well by means because that's what also professors do and assume. Like we said, it creates
Yeah.
fact as well. And I personally would think always there's always a village that would still try to fight off advantages either way because hey, you're invading their land and there's always a resistance coming forward. And we can see there are historical accounts of any community throughout this earth that anytime a enemy falls back, they will try to push them even further away because they created hatred from all the stealing, destruction, and all that. The
Hmm.
removing their development of their communities and all that. So it's definitely something that could have happened for sure.
I think that
Um.
was the part, one of the most enjoyable creative processes involved was
Mm,
creating a historically authentic scenario
mm-hmm.
within the constraints of the real-time strategy game you've been given.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
there's a trade-off there. You have units appearing out of nowhere from a small building, but he's going off to fight in a battle that actually happened. So
True.
you have to create um, you have to create analogs for things. You have to create things that
Mm,
You have to use things that weren't there uh, to try and make it make sense through the medium of this game.
true. All right. Have you? Wait, this is not. Wait, hold on. I just lost track of my questions here. Sorry. What was the single hardest thing for you to learn in the scenario editor? There we go. That's a trick question.
Single hardest thing to learn. Yeah, I think I've covered a couple of them already. The walls are very finicky, um, and I never learned how to have the AI attack stone walls properly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I say, the modules, the Villager Life module, the Roving Army module, they bring things to the next level, but they were difficult. The Roving Army module, especially, was difficult to. It was difficult to understand how to implement that. Um, yeah, they put out a guide. The devs put out a guide on how to create an intro cinematic, something which I
Mm-hmm.
think is quite important. Unfortunately, it's just wrong. It will. I can't remember what was wrong about it, but for a couple of reasons, it what they tell you to do won't work. So I had to spend a while figuring out how to make it in a way such that it did work. Um, so yeah, that was difficult and misleading, but I got there in the end with good results. Um, I've actually just seen someone in the modding Discord showing us a really, really cool custom intro cinematic that he just made that I didn't think was possible. Um, Basically, the impressive thing about it is the camera looking
The angle.
actually, yeah, looking up, not just looking at the ground, but looking parallel to the surface, parallel to the terrain,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can actually see sort of the entire map in this intro cinematic rather than just the usual RTS view you get of top down. So I'm pretty happy that someone has figured that out.
Yeah. I mean, that's still pretty awesome. And honestly, I would definitely look at it as well too when I get the time as well and be there in Discord server too. Because again, I
Mm.
didn't know about that as well, and that's really an interesting perspective and challenge that you had. um, what was the no? We have already freaking hell. Have players ever solved or broken off your scenarios in a way you didn't expect? And again, don't.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh,
Sorry.
who is it? What happened?
Oh, I mean, you sort of expect it to happen.
Oh,
You play scenarios in a certain way. You can't quality assure everything. You can't stress test everything. You just have to
mm-hmm.
put it out there and maybe test it some more afterwards, or hope for feedback.
Yeah,
What you really don't want is someone to play the scenario and then to suddenly get a scar error, which
yeah,
just means the scenario is now over because something that was supposed to be called upon wasn't there. So that's just not good because that's game breaking. But it's funny when you get those times where someone else approached uh, your scenario very different to any of the ways you approached it during playtesting. So Farmman official, another YouTuber, he played my Defense in Multan mission,
mm-hmm.
and he instead of creating a strong army, well, in addition to creating a strong army, he also placed outposts with springalds in them to defend the routes. Which sure I hadn't tried, but I'm surprised I hadn't thought of that before because defenses like that are very common in RTSs. Um, and it gets to the end cutscene where Mongol prisoners are being dragged off to be trampled by elephants back in the Delhi Sultanate. But the outposts that he built are still there in the ending cutscene, and they just shoot the prisoners, you know, outright, just right there on the spot and kill them. So that wasn't game breaking, but it was funny and a bit unexpected, and we had a laugh about that afterwards.
Uh,
Um,
phew.
So
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
a few things like that. But I'm greatly surprised and very happy that I haven't had that much feedback telling me that my scenario is unplayable,
Yeah.
at least on PC.
Well, I mean, like it's not just like the playable. It's like things like these, like have players, um, break your scenarios in a way you didn't expect, or like have like play styles or stuff that couldn't be done or as you
Well,
assumed, because
that's
that is
that's the
where I'm coming
problem.
from, like he did, and I'm glad that I'm not someone who done that.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
the problem. It's unless you're a YouTuber,
yeah,
I can't see how you played it. I don't know what you did. You probably the person who played it probably assumes that I play it the same way they do.
yeah,
So they're not telling me how they did it differently. So this is the only way that I see these things when a YouTuber actually plays them. And thankfully, they've been played by the mod's been played by Corvinus, some of them, and Killer Pigeon, as I said, and Farmman Official has been great and played all of them as well. So those were very eye opening, and it's always good to see them because it's so few and far between. So that's why I'm very happy to see your videos as well.
yeah.
Did you break any of the scenarios in a way that I didn't expect?
I hope
Uh,
not.
you attacked Khan from the back, which is cool. You used your agency there, and you did all the exploring, which is really cool to see. But the choice was there to just blunt force straight into the castle in the north. So it's nice to see people doing that differently. Um, yeah, I'm not
Hey, that's not
sure.
breaking. Don't go. That was a strategy. That was not breaking it.
No, no, exactly, yeah. But I don't think I'd seen anybody else play Caen apart from Marco.
Mm,
So yeah, it was nice to see someone doing it that way.
yeah.
As for the rest, uh, yeah, I don't. Well, I don't want to say I predicted your every move when I was making the scenarios, but there is an element of chess to it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so the AI is going to do this. What do I think the player is going to do? What do I think would surprise the player? What do I think would pleasantly surprise the player, in a way that what can I surprise the player with that they might not have seen before? Like, for instance, in Defense in Multan, the Mongol AI will actually a couple of times try to capture the sacred site that you want to capture because it gives you
Gold.
gold, which you
Yeah.
otherwise don't have access to. So little things like that, little sort of chess moves where I'm trying to preempt how the uh, how the player would do and how they would feel about certain things. That's so it's satisfying to see some of them play out in videos.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, well, that was still a good call, and yeah, shame on that YouTuber. Now, joking. Shout out to him, of course, and yeah, it's just still a good move, and but not something that you would expect, and obviously caused a little bit breaking in the cinematic, but yeah, can happen.
Mhm.
um, what kind of feedback or recognition means the most to you as creator?
Um, any feedback? I'm so starved for feedback. Just anything. Just give me feedback. Yeah, yeah, as I say, I can't do anything about it, but I
Hmm,
love to hear it. I love to
yeah,
hear how people think. Obviously, I'm happy when they enjoy my scenario, and I'm happy to hear their thoughts on it and discuss with them why I made the decisions that I made, just like I'm doing today.
yeah. No, I agree, and by all means, take it, enjoy it, dine on it.
Mhm.
um, do you keep any sort of notepad, Excel sheet for fixes or any future updates? Perhaps other creations you had in mind?
Good question.
Yeah. And by the way, this
So
question is not created by me. It's, by the way, again, a shout out to Christophers who came up with this as we played some games together. And I
yeah,
was like, hey,
it's
yeah,
definitely. definitely interesting to hear about what other mod creators would use, but my
Mm.
choice is OneNote.
OneNote, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's basically just a
Similar to
cloud-based
Notepad. Oh, okay. Okay.
whiteboard. No, not no. Notepad is just like text files, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. OneNote has a lot more going on. It's still quite basic, but basic in a good way, in that it keeps things simple. It's basically like a whiteboard. Um, I have it's quite well structured in that it'll have a notebook, and the notebook's drop down menu has a number of tabs, and you click on a tab, and that gives you a number of pages, and each page has a bunch of notes on it. And typically, um, for a project, for all of my projects, that page. So like, I've got uh, I've got
Yeah.
I've got the Siege of Caen 1346 as a page here. There's a few notes for the general broad strokes of the scenario at the top, and next to that is the diamond-shaped map, which I've roughly drawn with the markers in OneNote, showing where the player's going to start, where enemy settlements will be, where enemy fortifications will be, where markets will be, where woods are, where water is, where patrol routes will be, where docks are, various things like that. And then below that, I'll have a to do list with various things, and as well as notes, more detailed notes specifically on what I want for each mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll also further down write a draft for the description of the mod, because that's an important thing to get people in. And yeah, so OneNote would be my choice. Just it's very easy to use, and it doesn't have any frills. It doesn't have anything that um, complex technically, but it has everything I need, I think, to plan out a scenario.
Okay. No, that's a valid answer as well, and good way to approach this as well. And to keep everything organized and very perfectionist like. Um well, that concludes the last question.
Oh.
But I have only like one more, and I'm gonna be, saying like, do you have any questions for me?
Um,
Hmm.
I take it you've played all the vanilla campaigns and everything.
Correct, correct.
Yes. Okay, I see. And um, what other RTSs have you played in the past, I wonder?
Holy shit. That will be another big list, but I've definitely played through various of amount of um RTSs. Like for someone who has like more than 6.3k videos, more than the amount of subscribers that I have, but I've played through a lot of RTSs, and I have played through all the Total War series, to all the Age of Empires series. What have I else played? Through all the Stronghold series. I played all the Command and Conquer series. I played quite a few Company of Heroes, aside from the third one. I played, let us see, out of my head. Oh yeah, I've played also through the Ancestor Legacy game. Also a
Hmm.
very nice one. I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
Um, Stormgate, Goldsworn, Toy Soldier. Um, what else
Have you
did I?
done? Have you? How many? Well, have you done interviews like this for a lot of those games?
For all of those games, no, because I've not been able to reach down to the creators of those,
Hmm.
or games, of course, because trying to reach those guys is also like a big achievement, in my opinion, because they're not like us. They're like, you know, very. I feel like people you look up to, and those people are like lifted their head up, and it's like they won't really care too much about you, right? So yeah, um, yeah, but I'm still trying to plan, of course, to reach out and speak to many of the guys as much as possible as well, even in the creators
Mhm.
over here and even in Age of Empires 3, like I said. But I'm really struggling with uh, a way of contacting them and trying to get them, on board, of course, because not many of them have time, or like I said, I couldn't find them because like I've not really had anyone who did not want my to do my interviews, so I'm gonna knock it off. Um, I only had one person from Age of Mythology community, but hey, that's just a choice. I never asked why, but I think he just had his reasons. But yeah, uh, but yeah, I'm gonna still continue on, and of course, I'm planning also maybe to do some Warcraft 3 custom campaigns as well, maybe. And some people also mentioned
Okay.
why not try to do StarCraft. I'll said we'll
Yeah.
see. Because
I
those are
think you've already mentioned maybe, but why do these interviews? What do you want out of it?
what I want to out of it. When first of all, I want to have a little bit of information of in regards to what their inspirations was, and I want them to also know, like, hey, there are people who play your games, and also want to offer them guidelines also for the people who play through it, because I feel like not many of them know where maybe to draw the line, or offer constructive feedback and all that. Offer a touch with the how to call it, the community. And it is also interesting to see their perspectives, especially be it about the game, be it about how uh, the editor works, what they think about their creations, right? Because that is also what we have been definitely taking in, because the list that I've just created definitely speaks so much languages and touches so many different layers, which I've all been thinking about, and I could definitely like also set to NTL as well in regards how I've been thinking and what I definitely, well, not really gain out of it, but aim more to offer this to everyone, right? It's just it's just like a really great way to communicate with everyone, and for a person with a small dedicated audience, I think it's a very nice um, way. And it's also try to hopefully again also to tackle the guys above, to like, hey, look at this, these guys have spoken their
Yeah.
concerns, try to get this fixed, because like I also
Yeah.
said, if I can also try to gain some how should I say, um, an audience to with we can try to speak to these guys, then by all means let's go, because like I said, I think there's like a big gap in this regard to that. And
Mhm.
uh, it's not just that, there's like not many people are trying to interact with these creators as well. Like sure, people have played it, like those big guys, especially those competitive players, have played it, but have they even tried to reach you guys? Have they tried to even speak with you personally? I don't think so.
The
And
competitive players,
yeah, yeah.
a couple of them.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still, I feel like it's still very minimum, and I think that's what needs to be tackled as well. That's why I have like decided to work like, okay, this could be going forward, and this could be nice content for people to watch and listen to, like a podcast over here.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided, okay, time to make some kind of videos. So I just brainstormed one day. Took me quite a few hours as well, and I made it. And hopefully, this will encourage different creators to offer guidelines, different perspectives, and all that. Like I said, and hopefully also, if the creators are watching, I think they are. Maybe not. Maybe they will. Um, to take these things into account and try to tackle these major issues, because they're not minor, and that's for sure. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate you getting the word out there like that, and I definitely appreciate the chance
Mm-hmm.
to air my the 1.5 years of experience modding in
Mm-hmm.
this sort of memoir of an interview. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have been able to answer these questions here.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm glad that you've even taken it and accepted me. It's a great honor. and a pleasure to have even speaking for you for like quite a few hours right now. And it still was a joy also to hear your different perspectives and opinions and all that. And we've really handled it well. Most we have agreed, and even if we, had some other opinions, we just stated, listened to each other, and debated like great adults. But
Mhm.
it was just really pleasure. And like I said, thank you very much. And I hope everyone also, will enjoy to hear it as well. And if not, hey, like I always say, a shot is always fired. A shot never fired is always a miss. So yeah, that's what I would like to say. Um, if there's nothing else to say, I'd like to once again thank you very much personally for your time, the answers.
Yes, and
Again,
thank you for your time.
by all means, no problem. My time is not far more is less valuable than compared to yours. Um, but like I said, it was just really a pleasure, especially playing through your campaigns as well. I just really had them fun. And if you'd ever ask me like which ones would be my favorite from yours over here, by the way, I would definitely
Yeah.
said the Siege of Vienna. I really like that one.
Interesting. I should have, yeah, I should have asked which one was your
Mm-hmm.
favorite. I'd spent so long talking about myself and my mods that I thought it could use a break. But
No, it's good.
yeah, interesting that that's my first one and my most rocky one. I think
Yeah.
in a technical sense, the one that had
Mm-hmm.
had yeah, the clunkiest start and the least skill put into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting how different people react to different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Aside from that, I will put Ken into the second place, the Battle of Sluys to the third place, Siege of Rhodes the fourth, because again, for me, it was a bit too challenging. Fifth one, I also struggled. It was rather frustrating, but I just definitely grind through. Then comes Blockaded Salerno and the Siege of Breda afterwards, because I sadly skipped that one. I couldn't do that one either myself.
Once again, Breda isn't mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay. But yeah, then comes Blockade at Salerno, and yeah, I couldn't do
And
that one either.
yeah, um, I will say you missed one of the sergeant's abilities in that.
Oh,
You got custom units, and if you've played Age of Empires 2,
yeah.
then you'll know that donjons create sergeants,
Yo, hey, I did
but
make them.
sergeants create donjons.
Wait. So they had that option too in this game.
Uh, I created custom units that allowed you to do that.
Okay, I didn't pay
So they build
attention.
fortifications.
Okay,
So that's what I'd suggest if you gave the scenario another try. But I won't put any pressure on you to do that.
yeah, no. Okay, interesting. I'll try that one day. Okay. Well, like I said, it's still in this order either way as well, and I think still, even then, I think Blockade Salerno. Maybe if it would feel easier, maybe. Nah, no. I think it will still keep that position because I think the effort and all that put into Siege of Rhodes and defense of Milton and also
Yeah,
the way that looks is still far more better because Blockade Salerno feels far more.
it's very simple. It's very
Yeah,
one-dimensional. Stay
exactly.
there and hold the gate.
True. Yeah,
That was
exactly.
yeah.
That's it. That's why. So yeah, but on the contrary, for example, Siege of Vienna, it went so smooth. It had a challenge. It was still good. You did have to micromanagement a little bit. You get some forces, and
Yeah.
it was
If,
clear. And like,
if only the Culverins were there.
if only, damn it. Hey, by the way, another question. If you look back at the video, far top left, there was a church. And behind
Yes.
that church, you had a knight. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, you remember how I was talking about Easter eggs? It's kind
Yeah,
of a lame Easter egg just to have a knight chilling there, but I was just going to put a white knight in each of my scenarios,
yeah,
uh, and for people to find, but I didn't know what I could do to like interact with the knight, so I just thought I'd put them there. And then a couple of scenarios later, I just forgot to do that, and so it wasn't a recurring thing. So it doesn't really make much sense.
yeah.
He's just there. He's just, yeah, sorry about that if that was leading you on
No,
a
no,
little
no,
bit.
no, 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 no. I was like, who the fuck was that? What's this going on? Yeah, okay. I mean, it's still fine. I mean, but like I said, you did a great job and all. And yeah, I wish they would have said keep it up going, but since you stopped, then it's okay. And yeah, like I said, big success in your future life and all that. Thanks for making these and all, and
No,
appreciate your
thank you for
work.
playing them.
No problem, by all means. Yeah, well, either way, YouTube guys, this is it. With Foxplot over here. For those who've been staying here for until now, taking listening to this, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and also check out these scenarios yourself. Try them out. You've seen me playing it as well. Maybe you could even do better than me. Again, I'm not the best player, and yeah, drop a like, sub, and mention something in the comments box below, or join my Discord server so we can have a chit chat about it. And until then, we'll be seeing each other later.